Good evening, good evening, good evening, everybody. We are here on draft night, live on draft night. It's about to get started right now. This is, Al Pacino said it in Ocean's 13. I don't want the labor pains. I just want I just want the baby. And we are over the labor pains, and we're about to have the baby. It's finally about to happen. It's finally about to pop off here. They're in Green. We're live from Green Bay. They're broadcasting from Green Bay from Lambeau Field. Lots of people out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Are they're in Green Bay this year, right?
Yeah, they're in
Yeah,
Green Bay.
they're there. Yeah, outside of Lambeau, they're there.
Yeah. So I will introduce you guys after our intro because draft's about to get started. So let's do our awesome intro first. Good evening, everybody. Again, it is draft night. It is April 24th, 2025. Draft night, night one. We are about to start the first round of the draft here. I'm excited. You guys excited? Josh,
Heck yeah, man! I'm vibing. This is what it is to be a Dolphins fan, isn't it?
Yep.
This is the season right here, fellas.
I know. I mean, as sad as it as sad as it sounds, this is what we look forward to more than anything. But you know what? It's going to be a fun night. It's going to be a fun night. We're going to watch all the teams pick. Taylor logged on and said that the Browns and Jaguars have been in contact for the past hour. That's maybe fireworks going to happen there. Taylor, how you feeling tonight, man? I know this is like your Super Bowl, isn't it?
Man, I'm excited. This is the first live stream I've done during the draft. It's you guys' first live stream as well. I'm ready to just chill out, watch this first round. Hopefully the Dolphins do something great at 13. It's really hard for them to screw it up. So
challenge accepted.
And also, I want to throw this out there. I like how, I don't know, it was you, Keith, or Josh, but one of you guys went like, oh, should we start the show now? It's 3 minutes before the draft. You know very well they're about to sit here for the next 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah.
With the Titans on the clock, everybody knows that Cam Ward's going to be the pick. So, but you know what? It's fine. Let's go ahead and go live a little early.
Absolutely.
There we go. Sorry for the color change live. I'm making it so that the banner, that ticker at the bottom, isn't so bright. There it goes. It's a little easier to.
That looks
good.
It's a little easier to digest. We're just going to keep this rolling. So. And then whoever makes a pick, I'll pause it, update it, and then kick it back.
Nice. Yeah. So again, we're live in Green Bay. Lots of cheeseheads out there.
Mm-hmm.
Which broadcast are you guys watching? You guys watching ESPN or NFL?
ESPN. I'm watching NFL. I mean, I don't know if was it Fubo TV.
Okay.
Whatever it is. I thought I could stream it on one of the 5 million streaming services I have, but I couldn't. So my wife Jessica signed up for like a free trial we got it for 5 days, so I'm good now. Because we haven't had cable. I mean, we have all the streaming networks and all of our shows that we watch and everything is all available on there. So we cut cable a while ago and it saved us over almost $300 a month.
Yeah, I see. We're actually the opposite. We don't really have any streaming services except for YouTube TV.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, YouTube TV is, and that's, I mean, I'm a big Phillies fan, so I get to watch the Phillies, and I get NFL Sunday Ticket through YouTube TV, which is actually discounted, I think, if you have YouTube TV already. So, but I don't think we really have any streaming services. She'll sign up for Netflix whenever the Crown. My wife will. Whenever the Crown comes back, she'll sign up for Netflix for a month.
Is that still going on?
I don't know. I never watched the damn thing. She
Oh,
tried
see,
to
he's saying that live on the air, but we all know that that's BS.
No, you know what I did watch with her on Netflix is Love Is Blind.
Oh, yeah, we watched
yeah.
that too. Yeah,
Yeah.
and Love on the Spectrum is a really, really good one too. If you haven't,
I haven't seen that one, but Love Is Blind that's a wild ride, man.
yeah, I blame my wife. I sit down and I'm like, putzing around on my phone, and then like next thing I know, I'm like, my phone's behind me. I have a bowl of popcorn. I'm like, I got a blanket over me. I'm like sucked into whatever she's watching. I'll tell you what.
Yeah. In spite of myself, I'm the same way.
I'm not ashamed.
Watching the draft on mute is a wild ride already.
Well, so what's really tripping me up is you can see my AirPod in this one, and you see my streaming one in this one. So so I'm listening to it. Oh, look at Goodell.
Okay, so can you tell me why Roger Goodell is on a bicycle right now, or?
Because he's Roger Goodell. Is this like family friendly, Keith?
I mean, somewhat. I mean,
okay.
Well,
so
hey
kids,
let a curse word slip out every now and then, Josh.
Yeah. So hey, kids, if you're listening, earmuffs, because he's fucking weird. That's why.
He is.
Last year he came out with Eminem, which I thought was really cool because it was in Detroit. But this year he's got Lil Wayne. It looks like on a bike. I don't know.
Is that Lil Wayne?
In 2020, he had M&Ms. That was a big deal, apparently.
What do you mean M&Ms?
Like
he had that big jar of M&Ms in his basement.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't know. This is just weird. Hey,
should we boo him? Should we boo him just to follow what everybody else does? Yep, they're booing him.
So, where do you guys think the first surprise is going to be?
I think the first surprise is going to be someone trades up for Ashton Genty.
Yeah, I think so. The Jaguars have been rumored to take him at 5. He might not last that long.
Yeah.
So I think see.
Yeah. I think Shador falls, right?
Okay.
And then I'm hoping
falls out of the first, or just falls in the first round.
No, falls in the first. Somebody will trade for him.
Okay.
I'm hoping he's there at 13, and someone like Cleveland calls Miami and says, "Hey, we'll give you all of our like second, third, and fourth round picks to, or the is it the Rams? No, not the Rams. Yeah, the Rams that need a quarterback. I think there's been conversations them trading up to, and we might
quarterback.
And from a Dolphin
still there.
Yeah, but from a Dolphin standpoint, I bet you anything that Ramsey is included in some kind of trade during the draft. I'm not saying in the first round, but probably in the first.
So potentially my hot take, I think Genty goes 4 to the Patriots.
Oh, that would suck because I don't want to see him twice a year.
That's exactly why I think it's going to happen. I know it will suck.
Yep.
But that was one thing they were talking about on here. They need to get Drake May more weapons. I mean,
yeah, they need to block for him too.
Yeah, very true. If I'm the Patriots, I'm probably I'm an offensive line guy. If I'm the Patriots, I'm probably drafting Armand Membu. I think he's the best offensive lineman in this draft.
Yeah,
and that's
word on the street, man, is they're like enamored with Will Campbell.
Really?
And there's like I saw at least 15 reports from like reputable people saying if Hunter and or Carter are not there, they are taking Will Campbell at 4.
I get why they're enamored with Will Campbell too, and
not at 4 though, dude. Are you crazy? What a reach!
You know what?
I'm not saying he's not good.
Well, the thing is that I think Will Campbell is a guard in the NFL. Like, I think he can be a fine tackle. I think he can be a decent to good NFL tackle. But like, to me, he's a guard.
Mm-hmm.
To me, I see him like I saw Zach Martin coming out of Notre Dame a few years back. Zach Martin. They said he can be a fine tackle. He won't embarrass you at the tackle position, but he's got elite talent at the guard position. And sure enough, the Cowboys draft him. And 10, 12, however many years later, Zach Martin retires, and he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. He was the best guard in football for a decade. Mm-hmm. That's how I see Will Campbell.
If that's the case, then taking him at 4 is not a reach. But I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. I think he's a 10-year veteran that is solid, makes a couple Pro Bowls, nothing crazy, right? And I just don't know, man. Taking someone like that at 4 is not my cup of tea. It's not what I would do. However, we said this on the show last night. If this is your guy and he's there, I don't care if I have him rated as a 2nd round player. I mean, who the hell am I? You take him, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think the example we used was Kevin Banks Jr. Right? If Kevin Banks Jr. is Miami's guy, for example, at 13 and he's there, irregardless of how we all feel about it, I would rather you take a player that you as a franchise are comfortable with, right?
Yeah.
Than take somebody you think the fans are going to like, for example, right?
And
we might not all agree with it, but
it's also the other debate that we had.
Guys. Yeah, we were talking after the show yesterday. I was just like, yeah, guys, I'm kind of at the point where it's just whoever the Dolphins take, just say it with your chest.
Yeah.
You know, go out there with the confidence to be like, hey, this is the guy.
Yeah.
You know?
All right. So real quick, I don't mean to interrupt you guys. I'm so sorry. So the clock has officially started. So before we get too deep and anything is made, what is your guess on what happens? Is this a player? And if so, who? Or is it a trade down?
For the Titans?
Yes.
I think they're drafting Cam Ward here. I'll be honest. I don't necessarily agree that they should draft Cam Ward. If I'm the Titans, I'm probably taking Abdul Carter and or Travis Hunter. I'm taking one of those 2 guys.
and can I take 2?
Yeah.
Can I take 2?
Plays 2 positions.
Can I double dip here? No, I would take Abdul Carter or Travis Hunter if I'm the Titans. I wouldn't give up on Will Levis just yet. I think there's more to Will Levis's game. I'm not saying he's going to be an elite quarterback or even a good quarterback, but I think you can get him to serviceable. And I don't know that Cam Ward is.
Oh, there's the call. It's Cam Ward. They just showed him. He picked up his cell phone.
Oh yeah. Well, again, we knew that was happening. We knew that was going to happen.
Yeah. I thought he was pretty much locked in for the last 2 weeks. So
yeah,
I have no problem.
And they were enamored with him there are reports saying that they were doing backflips at his pro day.
Yeah. I have no problems with this pick. I mean, I was a fan of his when he was at Washington State last season.
Yeah.
And whenever he went to Miami, it's going to sound like, I'm like trying to say I called it, but I was like, he could be a Heisman candidate. I think he's that good. He ends up not winning the Heisman, of course, went Travis Hunter, but I mean, he's probably QB 4 or 5 if this was last year's class.
Yeah.
I mean, so who was last year, right? It was Drake May. It was
Caleb Williams, Jaden Daniels, Drake May.
Man, I called it. I had him my number 1 quarterback, and everyone gave me so much shit for it last year.
I would have too. I didn't like Jaden Daniels coming out of college.
Oh, I
think Penix went next.
Yep. Yeah, so I think I would have taken all 4 of those people ahead of Cam Ward.
Mm-hmm.
The only person I would have taken. So I would have taken Cam Ward over McCarthy and probably Bo Nix.
Yeah, Bo Nix though he looks
great,
so good.
Yeah, he looks great. I think the Broncos should get him more weapons.
Yeah, and they will. I think they're the ones that are solid. Like everything you see is wide receiver, running back, tight end, wide receiver, running back, tight end. You know, I think Omari and Hampton, because they're in the 2nd, he's their pick unless they use that pick to trade up.
Yeah,
Daniel Jeremiah had the Broncos turning up with the Dolphins.
I'll take it.
Yeah, his last mock draft.
I did.
And Dolphins had Malachi Starks at 20.
Do you think there's any possible scenario in which Shedeur Sanders is the pick here?
No.
No.
I just don't think. I really don't think teams are as high on Shedeur Sanders. Like we're talking about where Cam Ward would fall in last year's class. Shedeur Sanders would fall behind every single one of those guys, in my opinion, in last year's class.
He would have been that second. He probably would have been like a second, maybe in the 2nd round pick last year.
Yeah,
because the problem with last year was you had the 6 guys, and then all the teams went okay, Spencer Rattler's the next person. We're not taking him.
Yeah,
and
he went in
the 5th.
Yeah, he went in the first pick in the 5th round, I believe.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so Shedeur would have been like that day 2 guy. But I agree with you, Keith. I think he would have definitely been behind all those guys.
All right, well, get your notes ready, fellas. Get your comments ready. I believe you. I think we are all correct. This is about to be Cam Ward time.
Now they're comparing him to Patrick Mahomes. You gotta love it.
Jesus.
Here we go.
Yeah, let's compare they did that same crap with Caleb Williams last year. It's like, guys, just because he's the number one player taken doesn't mean you have to compare him to a generational talent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Especially when he doesn't really play like him.
No, it's like the people that like a linebacker in, I don't know, round 5 and compare him to Zach Thomas or something.
Yeah. Oh, was that a shot at me? Is that what that
no,
was?
it's not a shot. I'm just poking the bear, man. I'm just having fun.
I know, man. No, I see more Big Ben Roethlisberger than Patrick Mahomes and Cam Ward.
That's actually exactly who I have my player comp as. I'm looking at it right here. Ben Roethlisberger.
Yeah.
Yep. And he looks like all teary-eyed. So my assumption is, fellas, I almost feel like I can go ahead and type it in.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose you can't just yet, but you probably can.
I'm happy for the guy though, especially when you consider last year he was going to come out in the draft, and then at the last second he said, "No, I'm going to go back to school." And then you have a bunch of draft scouts and a bunch of analysts who are like, "Yeah, but kind of like what we were saying, we've been QB4, QB5. One season of production doesn't mean he's this good."
Mm-hmm.
And to me, I look at players like Jaden Daniels or Joe Burrow. They only have that one big season of production. That's enough to get him drafted.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I could be wrong about this, but I think he was a 0-star recruit coming out of high school too.
Oh,
I think I heard that somewhere.
That's a crazy stat if that's real.
Yeah. I'm fairly certain he was a 0-star recruit coming out of high school, and didn't get a lot of scholarship offers, and now he's the top pick in the draft. So good for him.
Bum 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 bada bum bum bum.
Boo! Goodell's up there. Yep, there it is. Mark it down. Cam Ward to the Titans.
Look at that. It's like the machine updated itself. Cam Ward.
Now it gets interesting.
Yeah, now comes the draft. The draft is official. Look.
Yeah.
All right, who wants to start on Cam Ward, right? I think he deserves flowers. He's the number one pick officially. We feel how we do about him, but hey, Tennessee liked him. They feel like they got their franchise guy. You can't fault him for taking a swing.
Well, I'll say this too. I watched him play a few games, for the U last year, and I was impressed by him. I was impressed by his arm strength. I was impressed by his poise. When Miami wasn't a great team last year, that was because of their defense, not because of their offense. Cam Ward balled out all year long. At one point, I was looking at their stats, and Miami lost a game 41-34 or something like that.
Ooh.
Cam Ward threw for.
Hey, I don't mean to wee woo.
Oh,
Jaguars just traded.
Yes, they did.
That is why I was going to say it's interesting here, because no matter what, this is Travis Hunter.
Yeah,
I say this. Watch Jacksonville gets Abdul Carter.
No, this has to be Travis Hunter, right?
So this is Jacksonville. Let's see, where's Jacksonville? Jacksonville, they
were 5th.
So Cleveland goes there, right?
Yeah, I would assume so. Yeah.
All right, I had to update the ticker. Sorry. Jacksonville is now on the clock. There was a bunch of picks that were rattled off, but I wasn't listening, so I apologize for those that are watching this. But getting back to Cam Ward, right? Elite physical profile. I mean, 6'2", 223, ran a 4.8 in the 40, right? I mean, explosiveness and his frame alone makes him one of the, in my opinion, made him one of the more intriguing prospects at the quarterback position in this specific draft. I don't think, last year we already said it. I don't really think, he would have been a top player, maybe a top 5 quarterback, top 6 quarterback taken. But, hey, crazier things have happened, man.
Yeah. Like I said, I thought from what I saw from him last year, he was impressive. He was the best player in the field in whatever game he played.
Mm-hmm.
I got the details on the trade from
hit it
here.
Hit it.
The Browns are trading the number 2 overall pick, a 4th round pick, number 104, and a 6th-round pick, number 200, to the Jaguars. Jacksonville are trading the number 5 pick, their 2nd-round pick, number 36, a 4th-round pick, 126, and their 2026 first.
Ooh,
wow.
that's
Jesus.
spicy.
Yo, you moved up 4 spots.
Yeah.
No, 3 spots. I can't count. 3 spots.
You know what?
Yeah.
So wait,
Credit
read that
goes-
again. What did they trade? They traded basically 2 firsts, a 2nd, and a 3rd or a 4th or
A
something.
4th.
Good.
A
Lord.
4th, and they got a 4th and a 6th back from the Jaguars. You know what? Credit to the Browns GM, whoever that is. That's a heck of a trade for them.
Credit to him for this trade.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
Not really batting 1,000.
You know what? You know what this means, though. You know what this means. I think because Cleveland has been very vocal about liking Shador. I bet you they take Shador at 5.
Okay. Yeah, I can see it.
Now, who do you think Jacksonville takes? Do you think it's Carter, or do you think
No,
it's
I think it's
or
Travis
something?
Hunter.
Travis Hunter?
Yeah, I think it's Travis Hunter. I
They
think
got Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker. Unless you trade Trayvon Walker, but I don't know, Keith. It's got to be Hunter, also because the duality of the player.
yeah.
Like that, to me, that's worth. If Travis Hunter ends up being awesome, that's worth that haul. Because also, it's not just you're getting a corner and you traded up for a corner. No, you trade up for a corner and a wide receiver.
Now, how would you use Travis Hunter? Would you actually have him play both sides of the ball full time? Because I wouldn't.
Mm-mm. See,
So
this is what terrifies me about him, because I feel like about how I feel about Travis Hunter is how I feel about every rookie coming into the NFL. Give him one position, let him learn that position. I think that was one of the many issues with Liam Eichenberg, right? In his rookie year, he played every position because he had to, instead of just sticking with the position and learning. That's why when we were talking about, maybe we can move Patrick Paul in, no thanks. Leave him at left tackle. Let him freaking learn. And so I know Travis Hunter is a very good wide receiver. I don't think he's the top wide receiver in this draft. I think he's not wide receiver number 3 if he was a wide receiver.
Yeah.
I think he's not the top cornerback. I think he's CB2, in my opinion. The reason
Behind
he's
who?
so high behind Jahdae Barrett.
Okay.
No, Will Johnson I like, but all of his medicals terrify me.
Okay.
Now, that being said, I'd be okay if Miami took him, because he's that good. But I think the reason Travis Hunter is so high is because he's top 2 at his position at 2 positions, right?
Okay. Yeah.
The problem is that as a rookie, there's a lot to learn. There's a huge learning curve, right? And going from college to the NFL. And so, you're going to put him at cornerback, and then he's going to also have to double time over to the wide receiver room to learn the wide receiver. That's just, I don't know. I think it's setting him up for failure.
See, Josh, I do think you're kind of underselling the talent of Travis Hunter a bit, though. I'm not saying put him full time at both, but make him a primary at something with a package or two on the other side.
Yeah, I'm
because
okay
the
with
other
that
thing
too.
Is what makes Travis Hunter so special to me is you look at it's not just the snap count. You look at the statistics of what is historic about this class. There are 2 players that stand out: Travis Hunter and Ashton Genty. And that's also at 2 positions for Travis Hunter.
I don't know. You're missing it. Abdul Carter's pretty generational.
Yeah, I'd add Abdul Carter to that too. Yeah.
But I get your point, though, right? But here's the thing: everything I'm hearing when teams that like Travis Hunter is, he's going to play everywhere. No, you either put him as a full-time wide receiver with, package at cornerback, or the opposite, right? But he needs to be a primary something, right?
I'm actually going to push back on you a little bit here, there, Josh, because I see Travis Hunter as the best cornerback in this draft. I see him as CB1 in this draft, and I see him as wide receiver 1 in this draft. I think he's the best at both positions. Now, I will say this: I would put him at cornerback. I would put him as my primary cornerback, and then work him into the offense in a few packages. Maybe, no more than 10 plays a game, honestly.
But that's my point. I'm okay with that because I see him as a cornerback, right? I think and when I say the number 2 cornerback, that is not a slight on him, right? I'm admittedly, I'm a little biased. I like Jahdae Barron that much. I
Yeah,
think he's the
you are a big
CB1.
fan of him.
I am. And I'm not afraid to admit it. Right. But I think what makes Travis Hunter generational is he's that good at two positions.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And I think you could even put him at safety if you wanted to. I mean, that's how good he is. But
Yeah.
I think he's a better cornerback than a wide receiver. And I think he'll have more of an impact from a career standpoint at the cornerback position than he would at the wide receiver position. That's not a slight on him as a wide receiver. I'm not saying he can't be, a 600-yard, 700-yard wide receiver while also having 12 interceptions, right? I mean, that's possible, but I don't see him as a 1,000-yard plus receiver unless he's exclusively a wide receiver.
Absolutely. Right? I agree with you there. Anthony chimed in. What was the compensation? Taylor, you want to handle that?
Sure. Let me pull it up again. Give me 1 second.
And the pick is in. I'll announce it, so I might interrupt you. Sorry.
I'm trying to wait for the pick to get announced here.
Yep.
Travis Hunter.
Travis Hunter.
Yep.
Okay, so the trade was, going to repeat this one more time, from Adam Schefter. Browns are trading number 2 overall pick, a 4th-round pick, a 6th-round pick to the Jaguars. Jacksonville is sending the number 5 pick, their 2nd-round pick, a 4th-round pick, and the 2026 first.
Yeah, so Jacksonville – so Cleveland got, what, 2 firsts, a 2nd, and a 4th.
Yeah.
And Jacksonville got the number 2 pick and what?
A 4th and a 6th, I believe.
A 4th and a 6th. Okay.
This year. Well, you know what? Good for Travis Hunter. I don't think he deserved the Heisman. I thought I would have given it to Genty personally. Genty had one of those transformative type of seasons. I would have given the Heisman to Genty, but I do love Travis Hunter's potential.
Yeah.
I'm super interested to find out how the Jaguars are planning on using him.
Yeah, and they probably see him as everyone else does. Kind of he's going to play some wide receiver, he's going to play some cornerback, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I will admit, I'm a little biased when it comes to him because he spurned my Florida State Seminoles. Right? He was a 5-star recruit. He signed with us. He signed with us over like Alabama and Georgia and a few others. And then immediately when we swapped coaches, he went to, was it whatever, some Jackson State or whatever it was.
Jackson State with Dion, yeah.
And then
moved to Colorado. Yeah. So
but
they're showing highlights of him at Jackson State right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, here's my write-up, right? Travis Hunter brings elite physical profile, 6 foot, 180 pounds, paired with a 4.4 40-yard dash. He's a high upside prospect, projected to be taken in the top 4, which he was.
Yep.
And has the traits to develop into a difference maker at 2 positions, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's a nice pick by them. We'll see. Again, we'll see how they use him. Because if you use this guy improperly, you're going to waste him, and that's the risk you run with a guy like Travis Hunter.
Yeah,
I think using him improperly is also, hey, he's playing solely corner or solely wide receiver. Like again, this is a player who I think is so special in terms of being able to play both sides of the ball. This does not happen, and the last time I think it's been realistic for a player to play both sides of the ball was what, Dion?
Yeah, his coach.
I know people were talking about, I know people talked about Charles Woodson back in the day as well, but
even Dion,
man, this feels more.
But even Dion, Taylor, there were a couple of plays written for him in the offensive package, but he was primarily a cornerback.
That's what I see him doing, right? That's what I see Hunter doing.
Which is fine. I'm just saying, I hope Jacksonville has a plan for him to play both wide receiver and corner.
Yeah,
especially also considering his wanting to do it, that desire to do it, to play both sides, to also you can see in every play he's on as a corner or wide receiver, he knows what he's doing. He's not just freestyling out there.
No,
he's a player who plays with high football IQ. He has great instincts.
Yeah, and again, comparing him to Dion probably is a bit of an injustice to him because Dion wasn't a very good wide receiver. Dion was fast. Dion was a great punt returner, an absolutely, one of the top cornerbacks of all time. But he wasn't a very good wide receiver. He didn't run a full route tree. Travis Hunter does and did run a full route tree in Colorado. So comparing him to Dion is it's a bit of an injustice to him, I suppose.
Yeah, but I will say this. Unfortunately, he did get drafted to the Jaguars. So to assume that they have a plan for him is probably, and I'm sorry for those Jacksonville fans that are watching this either now or later, but
yeah, fair point.
There has been nothing to give me confidence that they have any clue on how they're going to use this guy.
Last player with 8+ starts on offense. I didn't realize Deion Sanders started that many games on offense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think my gut is telling me that they are going to use him primarily as a wide receiver. That's just my gut, right? They have Lawrence. Okay. They need, and I don't, not that I don't approve. Who the hell am I? But I just don't agree with that, right? That's just my gut. I could be wrong. Maybe they use him primarily as a cornerback, which is what I think he should be. My only question to you guys would be, irregardless of his talent level at both positions, right? I mean, we can argue, is he one QB, is he CB1, CB2, is he wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2, whatever. He's in the top 3 at both positions, right?
Yeah.
But he's going to essentially be a primary player at one position with a package at the other.
Yeah.
With that in mind, I have a hard time giving up that much to move up 3 spots for him, right? I mean, it's something that my mind just can't comprehend. And it's because I don't think there's a player like him. So I have nothing to compare it to other than Deion Sanders, right?
Yeah.
I mean, Giants up to the podium, by the way, right now. The selection is Abdul Carter. To the surprise of nobody.
Yeah. And this guy, he's one of my favorite players in the draft. He's just unreal. Same. I personally, if I'm the Titans, I might have taken him number 1 overall. Him or Travis Hunter, probably Abdul Carter. Watching him play at Penn State, there were guys that came out of Penn State, like they've been edge rusher university for a little while now. Micah Parsons, Chop Robinson, he's better than both those guys coming out of college, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. Micah Parsons had I think Carter's better than Micah in some aspects, and Micah is better than Carter at others, right?
Well, to clarify, Keith did say in college. That is the very important clarification.
Yes. But also, Micah Parsons without the character concerns. Like, there were character concerns with Micah Parsons coming out.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And I think Abdul Carter is generational, right? And I think he's far and away from me the number 1 player in this draft.
Yeah.
Me. Like, it's not, I understand Travis Hunter is my number 2 prospect on my top 100, but there is a noticeable gap between Carter and Hunter and everyone else, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. And I agree completely. He was my number 1 player in the draft. I think he's, the second coming of Myles Garrett. I think he's going to be that good. He's that good in my opinion.
And the scary part is he can drop into coverage too. Right?
Yeah.
And Myles Garrett isn't known for dropping into coverage. So imagine having a Myles Garrett-esque type player that can cover tight ends. Like, that's what you just drafted. And I think I think New York is a good fit for him, right?
Yeah. I mean, also if you're a quarterback and you have to play the New York Giants, how terrified are you? You got Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, and now Abdul Carter.
Thibodeau might get traded.
I mean, he might, but still, like, even if he doesn't, whether he does or he doesn't,
that's good rotation.
The New York Giants are going to be.
They got a hell of a defensive line, man.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Keith, I completely agree. I think also if you keep Thibodeau, from what I've seen, it seems like people are kind of split a bit on Thibodeau since he came into the league. He hasn't fully, lived up to that pick he was at. So if you keep him, though, he's number 3 on the rotation, and that's one hell of a number 3.
Yeah.
So I think, does he start, though, you think?
Abdul?
Yeah.
Maybe.
I feel
would.
Like you have to, right?
I would, yeah.
He has linebacker experience, too. This year, I believe, was his first year primarily at edge.
Yeah, I mean he's an outside linebacker, right, with edge potential, right? Or edge. He's like what I would see the Giants playing him like we played Jalen Phillips. Jalen Phillips out of college was an edge that also had outside linebacker out of the U. I feel like just to get him on the field, you put him at outside linebacker, right?
Exactly, Josh. You just got to find a way to get this guy on the field. That's all you got to do. Yeah. All right. They're going to commercial. I'm going to make myself another cup of coffee. I will be right back.
All right. Don't remove yourself. Just turn your camera off. So that way. There you go.
So Josh, what you got on Abdul Carter?
Let's see. Elite physical profile. I mean, like generational last 5-10 year type elite physical profile. 6'3", 250, ran a 4.48 40-yard dash. Right. I think he's a true difference maker day one. I mean, irregardless of scheme, irregardless of position, whether it's outside linebacker or edge, I think he is the type of player. He is the most NFL ready player in this draft, in my opinion. I also have
I definitely agree with a lot of that.
Ironically enough, I have a Micah Parsons comparison to him.
Yeah, that seems to be the obvious one. I went for Von Miller.
Yeah, I mean, look, 6'1", right? Yeah.
Yeah. I put on here on my profile here that you know how people talk about dog mentalities?
Mm-hmm.
He has a Clifford the Big Red Dog mentality. Like, this guy is absolutely relentless.
Mm-hmm.
The only problem I really had with him is against more fundamentally sound offensive linemen.
Mm-hmm.
It's not that he was kept in check, because I don't think you can, at least in 2024, I don't think there was keeping Abdul Carter in check.
No.
But relatively tamed is the best way to put it. Like, he was put a little bit on the back burner against those players who are more fundamentally sound, can hunker down, take that initial rush.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the only flaw I really see in his game. That and the lack of, we talked about Cam Ward with 1 season of production. Abdul Carter, this is the first year he really played edge. Mm-hmm. So if you want to count that as a con as well, then there you go. But other than that, Josh, everything you said, athletic freak. Absolutely.
Yeah, and he's got and I think he has an elite. And when I say elite, that's not a throwaway word. I genuinely mean an elite first step. Like Chop Robinson-esque, right? Chop Robinson, I didn't have a lot on him last year, except for he has an elite first step, which he showed in the pros. And what I think is scary with Carter is already, I think he's a difference maker coming out, but you get him a year into an NFL weight room, an NFL, dietary regiment or whatever, however you want to call it, into the weight room. You get him in there with professionals that, like we said earlier, the Giants have a solid defensive line. So you're getting him in that room, learning different moves, learning how to set up different moves, adding stuff to his bag. And this player is only going to go from great to from trying to think of how to say this, great to stellar, I guess is the best way to say it. I mean, that's the kind of potential that this guy is a genuine difference maker. I'm excited for the Giants, for that that poor fan base. This is somebody you can go out and spend $140 on a jersey, and he's going to be there for a decade, right?
Yeah, you would hope so, at least.
Yeah.
But Brian Daboll and company, they're sitting on the hot seat. I think more so than us Dolphin fans looking at Mike McDaniel.
Yeah.
I think us fans
think that McDaniel is on a hot seat and I don't think he really is on as hot a seat as we think he should be, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Which we could sit here and have a big discussion about, like, how hot should that seat be.
I mean, we got plenty of time to talk about it.
That we do, because there's going to be so much time between picks. But Daboll is sitting there. You got to get a player who's an impact player today. I agree with you. I think Abdul Carter will do that. And you're talking about, like, getting in that room with that D-line, with the coaches there. The thing that excites me the most, though, he gets to sit with Brian Burns.
Yeah,
I think is a very underrated edge rusher.
Yep. And
Who's
as
had
a
like
Florida
a
State guy, I approve of that message.
Yeah. He's had an iffy 2 seasons though. But man, when he was talked about, what was it, the 2018 or 19 season? The Rams offered first round picks for him, and the Panthers were like, "Nah, we're good."
I think they offered 2 first-round picks, a third, and something else. I can't remember.
Patriots, guys.
What's up?
4th
Will
overall
Campbell.
pick, Will Campbell. Dang,
Hey, we called it. I called it. I've been calling it for days.
you did. I'm happy to be wrong. My number 1 player is still on the board.
Does Campbell have 2 L's? I think, right?
Yes, he does.
Yeah. Sorry, just want to make sure I'm spelling Campbell correctly. Look, Will. I like his outfit. Oh, he's looking swaggy. Honestly though, I got to be real. I don't hate this pick. I hate the fact that New England made a good pick finally for the first time in a handful of drafts, right? But I think Will Campbell is a stud, right? Yeah. I mean, we said it at the beginning of the show. I think he's a guard in the NFL. I know.
I agree.
You say you. I don't know where you stand, Taylor. With do you prefer
I
him
think
at
he's a
guard
guard or center? I would prefer him at guard.
Yeah,
but definitely inside.
Okay, so essentially, New England took a guard with the 4th overall pick, right? Hey, if that's your guy, and you believe he's going to be a 10-year guard, you take him, right? It's that simple.
Yeah, but do you take a guy 4th overall to play him at guard, or do you think the Patriots see him as a tackle? Because I think the Patriots, I don't think you take, if you're looking for a tackle with this pick, you take Armand Membu.
Oh, for sure. But I think Membu's going to be a better guard than a tackle in the NFL anyway.
Well, I agree with you there too.
And Membu,
right?
I was going to say Membu is also at right tackle as well. So if you're a team, I'm not as familiar with the Patriots roster. I don't know their offensive line off the top of my head. So I assume they have a right tackle.
Well,
that's pretty solid.
Patriots offensive line is not very good. Like there's
Patriots
holes.
Offensive line is garbage, dude.
Will Campbell steps in and he's immediately the best offensive lineman in that room. Regardless of what position they want to put him at, he's the best offensive lineman in that room.
Yeah, I really do think that they're probably. I think they're playing him at tackle, at left tackle.
Yeah, I agree. I think you take a guy 4th overall, you play him at tackle.
And you know what? Good for them, right? I mean, the same thing we said about New York. You saw your guy. If this was your guy, which for all of the reports and everything you read over the last couple of weeks, this was who they honed in on. I mean, good. Yep. You got your guy. You didn't settle, right? You didn't reach. You didn't do. I think they reached a little bit, right? With who's on the board. I have like 6 players that I have rated higher than him. And I have 2 offensive tackles or offensive linemen rather that I have rated higher than him. Right.
So who do you have rated higher than him, Josh?
Let me, I got to update I got to filter my sheet here. Hold on one second.
I am proud of us, guys. We had that whole conversation about Will Campbell. It was a great little conversation. And we didn't even bring up his arms. Not even once.
Well, I'm trying not to. Oh, I'm sorry. I have him number 2. Okay. I have him number 2. Yeah. I have Membu, Campbell, Simmons, Zabel, Banks Jr., Conley Jr., and so on and so on. Huh? Yeah.
But Taylor, I mean, we didn't bring up his arms. The reason I think he's a guard is because of his arms.
I mean, but that's why I'm saying
it goes unsaid.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of, it's the unspoken. I mean, look, do I think do I think he projects as a better guard than a tackle? Yes. Do I think he's also capable of being a very good tackle? Sure.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think he can be a fine tackle. But it's the Zach Martin thing. I think if you put him at guard, he's got all pro potential at guard. Whereas tackle, he'll be good. Yeah,
I think that's the best way to say it. Right. He's an all pro guard. He's a 10-year solid veteran with a couple Pro Bowls at tackle. Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Man, at this rate, with all how fast these picks are coming in, we might be done in an hour or 2.
Yeah.
Why do you have to say something?
Well, the Browns pick is already in.
Yeah, that's why I just saw it come across my screen. Guys, just so you know, this is a thing I do every year. for the draft, I have jelly beans. It's like my thing. I don't know.
Nice.
So if you see me munching on jelly beans, there you go.
See, this
Fair
Browns pick is so interesting to me
I don't know what it is yet.
because Josh, I know you said like, oh, could this be Shador here?
Mhm.
And at first, it's oh no, it couldn't be. But considering they're at 2, trade back, you take that compensation, you lose out on Travis Hunter. Now you're sitting here without the 2 most premium players in this draft. Who in the hell are they going to take if it's not a quarterback?
Maybe Genty.
Maybe Genty. Nick Chubb is a free agent right now.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
And who do I have as Oh no, that's another guy. Ashton Genty. I have Alvin Kamara as my player comp. Just with muscle.
Please don't be Genty.
Mason
All right, here
Graham.
it is. Is Mason Graham?
Mason Graham.
That's a great pick.
Wow. What a surprise. People were talking about him falling to us at 13.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never saw that happening.
Wow, that's crazy.
Look, I'm only mentioning it because they both got picked side by side. But it is kind of funny. Will Campbell and Mason Graham did get picked side by side considering the arm length. Kind of
Yeah.
I mean, I'll tell you what, though. I think Mason Graham's going to be part.
Yeah.
Hey, kids, if you're listening, cover your ears. A fucking stud in this league.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I want the Dolphins to draft an offensive lineman, but if Mason Graham was available to them at 13, you don't think twice. You run to the freaking podium. Like, yeah, you draft this guy. This guy, he's going to be so good in the NFL. What a responsible pick by the Cleveland Browns. I'm not used to them making responsible picks like this.
Yeah, Sanders would have been a better fit.
As soon as Josh said Genty, I was like, oh no. That is not only something the Browns would do, but it would piss me off because I'm like, oh, great. Genty goes to the Browns of all the teams. Not that I hate the Browns. It's just, you know, they don't really have a great future right now. I'll just say that.
The Browns?
I don't know. Maybe this draft actually turns around for them. So
hey, all it takes is a couple lucky good picks, man. I'll tell you what.
Yep. That's all.
Now, who was your guys' player count?
I've already told you mine. It's Wilkins. Christian Wilkins for Mason Graham.
Yeah, I saw Christian Wilkins. I see a little bit of Aaron Donald in him as well. You know, he's a little undersized for the position, and that was the big knock against Aaron Donald when he came out. And you saw what Aaron Donald did. You know, just put together one of the greatest defensive tackle seasons especially that we've seen.
Careers.
Yeah.
I mean, not just seasons.
Yeah, not seasons. I meant careers. Yeah, exactly.
So, I mean, measurables, right, for Graham. 6'5". He weighed in at 296, but his playing weight in college was 315, I think, 310, 315, which I think is what he'll play at. He ran just under a 5-second 40, or just over a 5-second 40. Right? I mean, what's your write-up on him, Taylor?
Wrestling background could be used in multiple different schemes. I love how he uses technique and power to get through. I do think he has questions as a pass rusher, and that's the real projection. I like the potential of pass rusher. I thought he improved greatly from 2023 to 2024, so I have no issues with him being top 5 pick.
Yeah. Did you guys? I did. Did you have him rated in your top 5 overall? He was number 5 for me.
Yeah, he was number 5 for me as well.
I had him as number 8.
Okay.
Yeah. The only player I have above him that's left on the board is Mr. Warren himself, Penn State tight end.
Okay.
Here's where it gets. Well, I said here's where it gets interesting with the Browns, but another team right here, the Raiders, they have so many options.
I think this pick is Genty.
This is such a Genty pick, right?
Yeah,
it is, but also wide receiver is a need, cornerback is a need.
Yeah, but there's no wide receivers worthy of taking it number 6 here, in my opinion. Like if you're if you're committed to taking a wide receiver, you trade down. Or you take Genty, who's, one of those aforementioned generational type of players. In my opinion, I think Genty is, he's Marshawn Lynch and Adrian Peterson. He's going to
like them if
be.
they had a baby.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, the pick's in already.
Here we go. What do you have to say, Mr. Goodell?
I'm like a half second behind you guys.
It's Genty.
It is?
It's Genty, yeah.
Great pick.
Yeah.
I think that's a great pick, man.
Yeah. And again, Al Davis just gave a fist pump from the grave. Al Davis loves this.
Of course he does. How do you guys like the ticker on the bottom? Is it working?
I think it looks great.
Yeah.
Yeah, same.
So Abdul Carter has been drafted, Travis Hunter, Ashton Genty, Mason Graham, and Cam Ward, right? Am I missing anyone?
Yep.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Nope.
Wait.
And what I like about this pick too,
the
Campbell. Raiders needed that running game last season. I know they had so many problems, but when you're sitting there with Zamir White, Sincere McCormick was the best running back you had on the roster last season.
Yeah.
And in the free agent period, you go get Raheem Mostert. Shout out to Raheem Mostert. Hope he does great over there. But I'm not sure he's an RB1 anymore.
No.
And Genty he's the perfect back to pair with Raheem Mostert and let them both just go.
Well, they missed the heck out of Josh Jacobs last year.
Yeah, I think this is a much better version of Josh Jacobs in his prime.
Exactly. Yeah.
As a rookie. Yeah. All right. So where do we think? So what's your write-up on Genty?
Probably the best running back I have seen since Adrian Peterson. The only two I can think of off the top of my head would be Saquon Barkley or Todd Gurley. I was very high on Todd Gurley. But he's somebody who has astronomically historic yards after contact stats, by the way. That does show up on film as well. He's somebody who just keeps those legs churning. He's a great receiving threat. I think he's one of those players that will fit in multiple schemes as well. Great in between the tackles, great outside the tackles. I mean, I don't want to sit here. It seems so basic to be like, oh, yeah, I think he's just an all-around back.
But he is.
But I think he just is.
Look, sometimes the simplest explanation is the correct answer, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I think Genty, you plug him in, he plays first down, second down, third down, fourth down until he gets tired.
Yep.
I mean, it's really that simple.
Yeah. Yeah, and, last season you kind of saw a resurgence in running backs. And I'm not saying that's why Genty was picked here, because I think Genty's that good. But you saw a resurgence in running backs. You saw what great running games can do for football teams again. With Derrick Henry going to Baltimore and Josh Jacobs going to Green Bay, Joe Mixon going to the Houston Texans. Like, just a bunch of guys who came in and just kind of transformed those respective teams' entire offenses just by their mere presence. That's what Ashton Genty's going to do for the Raiders offense. You've got Geno Smith as your quarterback. We all have our opinions on Geno Smith. He's decent. He doesn't move the needle for me one way or the other.
No, he had one good season.
Yeah.
2 seasons ago.
Yeah. But you put Ashton Genty in his backfield, Geno Smith looks a lot better.
Everyone does.
Yeah. Just makes the offense.
Yeah, and the offensive line blocks better because they get excited because they have somebody that they feel like, I'm reading between the lines, but they feel like is going to hit the hole. The crazy part is he's only 5'8", right? He's 211.
Yeah.
He's 211
measurables
pounds.
are bad. They are bad.
I wouldn't say bad, right? I mean, he's about as compact as you can get. And I think it actually benefits him that he's so short because all of the offensive linemen are 6'5" plus usually, right? Mm-hmm. So he's there, he disappears, and then he's behind you, right? I mean, he's got shades of Emmitt Smith. And I know the NFL Network just popped him up as a comparison, but he really genuinely does.
Yeah, he does. He does. Emmett Smith, or 5'8", maybe Maurice Jones-Drew, like a bowling ball type of guy that
Mhm.
don't try and bring this guy down with an arm tackle. It ain't gonna work.
Yeah. What was that stat, Taylor? Was
After
it
contact.
18,
Yeah, was it
1,800 yards after contact? Was that it?
It was after initial contact, just in one season. So last year.
Yeah. I think it was like 1,800 yards. I don't know. That doesn't sound right for some reason. Scatabo, like Genty was number 1 on that list, by the way. Cam Scatabo from Arizona State was number 3. So just to tell you how close in that regard those two players are.
Well, I wouldn't say close. They're close in a couple stats.
Well, in the yards after contact category.
Yeah.
And hey, don't try to arm tackle this guy. It will end poorly for you. Yeah.
Like,
Ashton Jackson, Cam Scatabo. Two guys you don't want to try that with.
And I think this is kind of like a blanket statement, right? Imagine what these players are going to look like with a full year in a NFL locker room, a full year in an NFL weight room, right? Genty's going to be a scary animal,
Mm-hmm.
right?
And also to talk about like the end of last season, because the big criticisms about him are, oh, he played in the Mountain West. Oh, he didn't look great against Penn State. Oh, he didn't look great really at all in the playoffs. Yeah, I'm not trying to make excuses. I'm just trying to provide context. There's a good chance. I don't want to say a good chance, but there is a chance. This is a crapshoot. There's a chance Ashton Genty does not work in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But there's also context to provide with Ashton Genty. Toward the end of the season, he was a bit banged up. And everybody at that point was very well aware that, hey, man, Ashton Genty is the only guy on this team who's going to do anything.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to put everybody in the box for him.
Well, what's crazy? Sorry, Keith, go ahead.
Well, no, like you brought up the Penn State game, Taylor. Like Penn State's defense was they were probably a top 5 defense in the country last year. And they put all of their effort into shutting Ashton Genty down. Genty didn't have any room to run that entire game. Like I watched that game from beginning to end. Genty had 0 room to run that entire game. Just in his defense.
Yeah, and I think what's crazy is that is the statistical accomplishments that Genty put up last year, when he was really the only weapon on that team.
Yeah.
Right. So I know you said it earlier, Taylor, right? But teams were loading the boxes. They were putting 8 in the box, dropping 2 safeties down, saying, okay, anyone but this man is going to beat us. And he still put up 200 plus or whatever it was a game, right?
So Malik Muhammad just made a comment. Taylor, you think Shador going to Pittsburgh?
Yeah, Malik, I do think that's a possibility.
Yep.
Man. I'm sorry.
Yep,
Yeah.
I sure do. I think that's the fit. Oh, the
God.
God. Jets. Who are they? What kicker are they going to take in round 1, fellas?
My favorite player in the draft, Jets. That's depressing. Armand Membu.
Hey, if I know this is a Dolphins show, and I hate to say it, it's a good fucking pick.
Yeah, it is.
It
is.
I mean, talk about versatility.
I know. I love this guy. We talked about man crushes. This was my man crush.
Mm-hmm.
I loved Armand Membu from the start of this process all the way through.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's a solid pick. Now you have Olu Fashanu and Armand Membu on either side of your line. That's awesome for them. If I'm a Jets fan, I am over the moon right now.
Not to go back to that comment, but Lake's a buddy of mine. Appreciate you checking out the live stream, man. But yeah, man, I was trying to tell him before the draft too. I was like, yeah, you guys do need a quarterback though, because you're one hit away from Skylar Thompson taking snaps, and you really don't want that. So I know Shador isn't like the top guy, but somebody's got to be QB1 there if it's not Rodgers.
Yeah, but I mean, if the season were to start right now, Mason Rudolph is the Pittsburgh Steelers starting quarterback.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, you can't
No.
do that.
no.
No.
Maybe it's Jackson
So-
Dort. But
So the top 2 offensive linemen are off the board.
Expected though. I mean,
Yeah.
look, if you're a Dolphins fan and you thought one of those two were going to fall to you, you were on some copium.
I've been on some copium. No, I didn't think that they're going to fall to me, but I mean, I held out a little bit of hope. I suppose.
Would have been great, right?
Yeah.
I mean, look, I didn't see any bong videos for either of them, so I knew they weren't going to be there.
Yeah, fair enough.
The reason we liked both of those players, and both of those players being Will Campbell and Armand Membu,
yeah.
because they're so talented, right? And you know, unfortunately, a lot of teams above us have really crappy offensive lines, and the Jets are one of them.
Yeah.
Right? I will say, and I don't know why. Now, anyone listening to the show that has followed us for this entire kind of draft cycle knows I am a big fan of Armand Membu, but there is something deep down inside of me, down in the back of my skull, that is saying there is a potential that he does not pan out. I mean, you could say that about everyone, but noticeable in my mind. Like, oh, okay, I would take him if he was there at 13. I probably would have taken him if we were drafting here. But something in the back of my mind, for whatever reason, I can't pinpoint it. I can't put a finger on it. There's just like this little red flag waving somewhere. You know what I mean?
So
do you think?
I mean,
I know you're making a point like, hey, it's because the Jets took him, but do you also think it's a possibility because the combine? Because he was one of the combine darlings along with Emanori. Sorry to talk over you, Keith.
I'm not following you, bud.
But he was a combine darling he had like a great 40 time, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, he really rose up rankings because of his combine.
Mm-hmm.
I see what you're saying, Taylor.
Yeah.
Yeah, and Taylor, I wasn't saying that little red flag was because he was drafted by the Jets. I genuinely mean in general. Like,
so this thing in the back of your mind that you think about with our, like, you don't know what it is?
I can't pinpoint it. It's just that one little thing I don't know what it is. I've sat there, I've dissected these players, I've watched film, all 22s, I've broken things down, I've done everything I could to get myself ready for each one of these players that I have in my top 100 over the last couple months. And Membu was one of a handful of them that I love.
Yeah.
But there is something in the back of my mind that's just like, hey, pay attention. Right. And I can't pinpoint. I can't figure it out, you know, and that's what makes me a little nervous.
Is it like a too good to be true kind of thing? You know, a guy his size running a 4.9 140 at the combine, like
no, I see. I don't put a lot of stock in the combine. I think it's the underwear Olympics, right? So great. It allows us to, in my paint more solid lines around the edge. I'm more of if it's on the film, that speaks to me, right? I want to see him in pads. I want to see him against competition. I don't need to see him in underwear running a 40. Okay, dude's fast. We all knew he was fast. We watched the tape, right?
Yeah.
I don't care if he runs. I mean, it's great. I think it's great stuff, right? But I think at the beginning of the season, not a lot of people were talking about him, and maybe this is it. And then because of the combine, maybe. I mean, I'm just kind of figuring this out as we're going here. Maybe it's because
Keith put it better than I did, by the way.
Yeah, I mean, maybe it's just because he was a darling at the combine, and he went from maybe a first round pick to he's a top 3 pick. I mean, I don't know. Yeah. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's not. I can't really pinpoint it, but I'm not saying he's going to be a bust or that he's going to be bad. I think he's got all the talent in the world, and I'd be ecstatic if he was a Miami Dolphin. But something about him, I don't know what it is though.
I mean, that's fair. You know, there are some guys. And again, you know, we're talking about combine warriors that are too good to be true. You know, guys like I remember back in the 90s. You guys remember Mike Mamula? Mamula, defensive end for the Philadelphia Eagles. And he was basically one of the first guys that trained specifically for the combine. And he went out, he basically hired a guy to help him get better at all the things that they test for at the combine, whether it be the 3-cone drill or the 40 or the high jump and all that stuff. And Mamula went out in the draft, went out to the combine, and just his numbers were off the charts. They were, you've never seen numbers like that before from a guy. and the Eagles drafted him in the first round. He never lived up to that draft billing. So I do take the combine numbers with a grain of salt personally, but also there is something to it. You see a guy Armand Mebu's size run a 4.9 140, you just kind of, whoa.
Yeah, well, for me though, the 40 is the least. For me, the 40 is the least most, like the lowest on the totem pole from a combine standpoint, right? That being said, I mean, it does show you something. Oh, hold on, Carolina.
There we go.
Pick is in. Who'd they take?
Ted McMillan.
Hey,
I respect this pick.
I like it. They know what they need, man.
Wow.
How do you spell his last name?
McMillan.
You need help with the last name and not the first name?
Well, I just put T.
Yeah.
Let's put T-Mac. Call it a day. Make it easy.
I might have to. We're getting close to the 1,000.
Ted McMillan was one of those dudes. I didn't know where to project him. I didn't know where he was. I had no feel for where he was going to go in this draft. And I'm not surprised the Panthers took him. I would have been surprised to see him drop into the early 20s,
Keith, I don't think anybody's ever said a truer statement on this podcast. I've seen mocks where he goes in the top 5. Yep. And then you hear like Todd McShay go like, oh yeah, he's like my 50th ranked player. And some people have been the late first. So this dude was all over the place, but I respect the hell out of this. Xavier Legette plus Adam Thielen plus T-Mac, you finally get Bryce Young weapons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, look, and this guy's a difference maker, right? I mean, like you said, Taylor, I think, they were all over people were all over the board with him, right?
Yeah.
But this dude is huge.
So who was your player comp for him, Josh?
AJ Green.
AJ Green, right? Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. 6'5", 212, 4'5", 540, and I know I just got done saying 40 doesn't matter, but it, like you said, it does paint something. It shows something and proves a little more at certain positions than others. But this dude is a physical freak at the wide receiver position, right? I think he needs to round out his route tree.
Yeah.
Right. I think he needs to do a little better in the short and intermediate game. I think he's good, right? But from a 50-50 ball standpoint, you put that guy on the outside as your X receiver, you have him run a go or a 5 and out when you're in the red zone.
Yeah.
70% of the chance that if you put a good ball in the air, he's going to beat that cornerback, in my opinion.
Yeah.
He's got talent.
I know one person, and you guys alluded to it, and I know one person who's cheering right now, and it's Bryce Young. Bryce Young has to be thrilled. And, you finally put, somewhat of an offensive line in front of him. You took Robert Hunt away from the Dolphins, put him at guard. You drafted Xavier Legette last year, and now Ted McMillan. They're building something in Carolina. And Bryce Young finally showed signs of life last year.
Yeah, it's crazy, right? They benched him and they wanted to trade him.
Yeah.
Well, I think the entire Panthers offense is interesting there because I know I also mentioned like they're finally getting Bryce Young weapons. Legette and Adam Thielen were there before. They were there last year. But they didn't have that number one guy. Yeah. That guy who exudes that confidence, who can get that 5 catches, 100 yards a game kind of performance each week. And I think you get T-Mac, at least you get the potential of that, and then you let Thielen do what he's been doing the last few seasons. You let Legette continue to develop. This is
maybe learn how to speak English, right? maybe
Legette
can learn how to speak English.
Yeah, Adam Thielen, great job. He's still there. Apparently, him and Bryce Young, they're learning Xavier Legette's language.
Yeah.
So
I have Legette. I took him. I traded down in the first round of my dynasty league and took him in at the end of round 1 last year.
They're learning Xavier Legette's language like he speaks French. He might as well speak French. Have you ever heard that guy talk? It's wow.
He sounds like the guy from The Water Boy.
Yeah, he does.
Right. All right. So, question for you guys: Saints pick is in. Before it comes in, do you think this is Shedeur Sanders?
No,
I don't.
Who do you think they pick?
It's anybody's guess.
Yeah.
The Saints are Swiss cheese, man. That's a team full of holes.
I know. So who do you think they pick? I think they take
Our
Shador
first
Sanders.
mock draft.
You think
Our
they
first
take
mock
Shador
draft, I
Sanders?
was like, I think the Saints need everybody. So literally anybody in the really anybody in the next 2 rounds, I think it's a possibility here.
Yeah,
But
I think Matthew
to me, I think
Golden.
they should take Shador.
Yep.
Take a flyer on a quarterback. See if this will take Shador or Dart, one of the two, whoever you really do like, if you like either of them. But
Yeah. So they have the longest active drought since drafting first round quarterback. I think.
And they put that stat up there, like, you know, they're alluding to the fact that the Saints could draft Shador Sanders here.
Well, I've had Sanders mocked to the Saints for a week now, week and a half.
Yeah.
I see Matthew Golden's another opportunity here, or they could take a lineman, right? I mean, I don't know, maybe Tyler Warren. I mean, I don't know. What are your thoughts, Keith? Who do you think that put a name out there, buddy?
do it quick.
Yeah, go quick. Jalen Walker. Ooh, that's a good pick too. I forgot about Jalen Walker.
Kelvin Banks Jr. Damn.
No way.
Yep. It's Kelvin Banks Jr.
Of course it is. What a Saints thing to do.
Full circle. Dude, the Kelvin Banks Jr. hype has been insane to see. Beginning of the draft process, we have Josh coming out and being like, oh, yeah, he is my guy. Be lucky that he's there at 13.
Yep.
Come February at the earliest to at least March, people are like, oh, no, he's like offensive lineman 8 at this point. Exaggerating, but you guys get my point. And now here we are. Saints pick him at 9.
Hey, you know what? That this is a testament to my talent skills, I guess, because I thought he would be a great pick at 13, and look at that. He's picked a couple picks ahead of us.
So top 3 offensive linemen are off the board. That's depressing for me.
Well, I don't have Kevin. I don't have Banks on my top 3.
An offensive line?
Yeah. Kevin Banks was,
I think,
number 5.
Okay, so who'd you have above him? Zabel. I heard you had Zabel above him. Who else?
Yeah, I had Zabel and Savanaya.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Savanaya is a monster.
Okay.
Not gonna lie, I'm very happy with how the offensive line has felt so far. I might live to regret that statement, but I know Membo is your guy, Keith. I'm a big fan as well. Mm-hmm. It's just for me also that play style of what we talked about all off season. It's the reason we were doing all the grades. Like, hey, what did Dolphins need? They need dogs. And while I think Membo has some of that, he doesn't have that nastiness streak that especially somebody like a Tyler Booker has.
Well, Tyler Booker or Will Campbell.
That's unfair.
Patriots.
Yeah, Donovan Jackson.
That's kind of unfair for me to say.
Yeah.
Who's the other guy? Damn, I gotta find him. Hold on. What the hell's his name? Josh Simmons too. Simmons is a
Joe Dill. This is my best friend chiming in right now.
Hey Joe, what's up, buddy?
What's up, fellas? He's a Patriots fan. Don't dog him too hard for it. I heard Patriots fan. What do we think of our boring but need a pick of Campbell at 4? I
think it's a great freaking pick.
Yeah, Joe. I think we all thought it was a home run when it happened. Great pick. Will Campbell's going to be a heck of a player for you guys.
It's nothing flashy, right? We said it earlier, Joe. It depends on where you guys play him, right? I think it's a consensus on this show that he's a Pro Bowl, multi-Pro Bowl-esque 10-year, awesome, amazing player at guard.
Yeah,
he's a very, very good tackle. So either way, right? I mean, you kind of hit a home run with the pick. It's a boring pick. It's not a fun pick, but it's a pick that'll keep your young quarterback off his butt, which is the most important thing.
Yeah, I mean, they can't all be the sexy pick, but offensive line, especially for, again, like Josh said, a young quarterback like Drake May, he got hit too many times last year, man. He was constantly under duress. You bring in Will Campbell, helps alleviate that. Yeah.
And, 2 of my brothers are, well, they're not my real brothers by blood, but they're my brother, my chosen brothers, if you will, are both, because I live in Connecticut. So they're both diehard Patriots fans as well. Andrew and Brian. And we were talking earlier today in our group chat about Will Campbell, and they were both really excited about him. And then when they picked him, they both loved the pick. So
yeah, and that's how Joe is with me, chosen brother. He's actually originally from Rhode Island, so he's got all of his family. They're all diehard Patriots fans, and I'll tell you, I've known him for 25 years now. He was insufferable for a good 2 decades.
So I guess question, fellas, who do you think the Bears pick? Does Tyler Warren finally come off the board, or is it Jalen Walker?
I could see Tyler Warren. I could see Jalen Walker. Is there an edge that the Bears could take here, or I don't know?
Yeah, Jalen Walker.
Yeah, I don't see Jalen Walker as an edge. I see him as an off-ball linebacker personally.
I feel just like Carter. I'm not saying they're comparable, but I think he could play both.
Fair enough.
Do you think Amarian Hampton is a possibility here?
I could say it.
I mean, yeah, they need a running back, and he's a stud. I have Trayvon Henderson as slightly above Amarian Hampton in my rankings, but can't go wrong, man.
I could see. I know the Bears would have taken Genty if he had lasted.
Oh, for sure.
Oh yeah.
Oh God.
They'll get riots if they didn't take Genty at 10.
It would have been like how I felt when the Dolphins passed up on I'm blanking on his name. It was a tight end. He was like 6'6". Somebody else drafted. It was a couple years ago. I think the Steelers drafted him.
Oh, you're talking about Washington.
Yeah, Washington. Yeah, Darnell Washington. Yeah.
Darnell Washington.
Yeah, and we passed up on him twice. We passed up on him twice.
You know what's funny, Josh? I had that same feeling with another Steelers play. 2 of them, Troy Fatanu and Peyton Wilson.
Oh, yeah.
Same draft.
Yeah. And look, as much as I like Jalen Waddle, the fact that we passed up on Penei Sewell for him drove me nuts.
Now, Joe did ask another question. Who do you guys want at 13? Personally, Joe, now the top 3 offensive linemen are off the board, I'd like to see the Dolphins trade back. Get some more picks in the 2nd and 3rd round.
Now, if you had to pick a player, though, if they were not trading and they're staying, who do you
if Will Johnson's available, I want Will Johnson.
Yeah.
Quarterback out of Michigan.
Yeah, for me, Joe, it's been the same player for the last month and a half. It's Jahdae Barron, quarterback out of Texas.
Yeah. So
I don't want to say anything until after this Bears pick.
Fair enough.
Come on, say it. Say the thing.
He's afraid the Bears are going to take him.
Yeah. Keith knows exactly who I'm going to say. Josh, I
Tyler
feel like
Warren.
you caught on immediately. Damn it, Josh.
Colston Loveland.
No. Well, you know what? He's been rising up the boards.
He has.
That is insane to me, though.
Now Colston Loveland, he's not. I didn't like him as much because he's not a complete tight end in my mind. He's not a great blocker. He's more of a Mike Gesicki, if you will, a big wide receiver who doesn't block all that well.
See, I think he's actually a pretty well-rounded. I mean, I don't think he's as well-rounded as Warren, but I think he's not a phenomenal blocker, but I think he's serviceable as a blocker.
I'm more in line with Keith. I don't hate him. I have a 2nd-round grade on him. I do like him as a receiving threat. My comparison was like Mike Gesicki plus a Cole Kmet. Kind of like – because I think you said he's more of an all-around guy than Gesicki is, Josh. I agree with that. It's just
I have Hunter Henry as my
done.
Yeah.
Yeah. It feels like he's still developing and still growing as a player. And I mean that like putting on weight as a player too.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That plus, and I understand. Look, I understand how bad Michigan's offense was last season. I know how bad their quarterbacks were.
Yeah.
But there is something to be said about the lack of elite production over the last 2 seasons.
Well, don't forget also they've had really good skill players, and they don't feature their tight end a lot.
Yeah, so that one is a very minor thing. For me, it's more so like he's still more of developing into being a blocker. Right now, I agree with Keith 100%. Like, you're at least getting at the floor Mike Gesicki.
Yeah.
Player, which is good.
I will say this about Colston Loveland. He's a willing blocker, and Mike Gesicki never was.
I mean, I just watched
Mike Gesicki's never shown any interest in blocking.
I just watched a highlight they showed on ESPN where he just laid a couple guys out in you know on the run in the run game as a blocker.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think he's got the tools. I think to your point, I have a second round pick on him or second round grade on him.
He's my third favorite tight end, honestly. I think this is a bit of a reach pick for the Bears.
Oh yeah, for sure. This is definitely.
I like Mason Taylor more, and I absolutely love Tyler Warren more.
I don't know. I get hot and cold with Mason Taylor. Like I really like him. I really love the fact that he's Jason. For those of you that don't know, right here, I have a signed Jason Taylor's jersey. He's one of my favorite players, my second favorite player of all time, behind Zach Thomas. Zach Thomas, Jason Taylor, Dan Marino, in that order. Come fight me.
I'm Zach Thomas, Jason Taylor, Rashad Jones. Love Rashad Jones.
Rashad Jones.
Yeah, man. I loved Rashad Jones. He was on heroin. He deserved to make like 6 more Pro Bowls than he actually made.
Yeah. I mean, look, he's you know what? Here's a perfect example. For Joe, what the Patriots got is the Rashad Jones of offensive linemen, right? With the number 4th pick.
There you go.
You got a guy that your fan base is going to love.
Yeah.
That is going to be there for a decade and then gracefully walk off into the sunset.
Yeah.
Speaking of Rashad Jones, Keith, Craig Woodson, the safety, I think I took him in the Dolphins mock draft yesterday.
You did, yeah.
Yeah, my comp for him is Rashad Jones.
I like it.
So day 3 gets here.
Yeah.
You might get the second coming of Rashad Jones.
Rashad Jones was also a day 3 pick, if you guys remember. And
5th round pick from Georgia, I believe.
5th round pick out of Georgia.
Yep.
He was a dog. See what I did there?
Yeah.
Nice. Guy. Well done. All right, we're going to end the show on that note right there.
All right, guys. Have a good night. Thank you very much. Tip your waiters. I'm here all night, folks. All right, so really, really quick before they announce it, who do you think the 49ers take?
This feels like a defensive lineman to me. So
Jalen
I
Walker?
could see Walter Nolan going here. I could see potentially what's that?
Mike Green,
Kenneth Grant, one of those guys.
Do you think it's also a D tackle or an edge or one of?
I think it's a D tackle. They lost who was their big? They lost a couple of guys this offseason. Javon Kinlaw, not Javon.
Hargrave as well.
Hargrave.
Yeah, Hargrave. That's what I was thinking of.
Maybe Walter Nolan, you think, or is that too much?
Yeah, I could see Walter Nolan. I could see Kenneth Grant. I could see. I think a defensive tackle here. I could also. I would have said offensive line, but again, the top 3 guys that are worthy of like top 11 picks are kind of gone. Because Trent Williams is going to be 37 this year, so they need to start looking towards the future in that regard.
That's wild. The fact that Tyler Warren is still on the board and we're at
Josh, what is your problem?
We're at pick 11. The fact, hey, NFL, listen up. Why is Tyler Warren still? I'm just messing with you.
So my buddy Dave Keenan just dropped in. Good stuff, guys. Thanks for the live feed.
Hey,
Go Birds.
What's up, bud?
He's an Eagles fan. Don't hold it against him.
Can he spell it though? Because I've seen so many highlights of Eagles fans trying to spell Eagles and they fuck it up. They're like EGELAS, Eagles. And I'm like, nope, try again.
Well, I mean, in their defense, Josh, they're drunk every time they try.
I mean, that's a fair point. And who am I to? I mean, they're right. They got the trophy. So
they do.
Who the hell am I?
So I know the Niners are on the clock, then the Cowboys here, but we're kind of getting a look at what the Dolphins generally will have on the board. And I got to tell you, I'm not a big fan of Membo being gone, but other than that, and also Mason Graham, of course, but I didn't think he'd fall that far.
Well, and Abdul Carter. I mean, I thought there was a chance.
Yeah, I thought it was a realistic chance. But no, I'm pretty thrilled with how this has went so far because we're sitting here with some cornerbacks on the board, sitting with still Malachi Starks, getting the boring ones out of the way.
Tyler Warren.
Tyler Warren, no one's ever mentioned him before. Jalen Walker as well, who is, I understand, not necessarily the most pressing need, but he's one of those players that you find ways. What you kind of said about Abdul Carter, you find ways to use him, right?
Yeah. But he's also one of those guys that I felt like the same about Ted McMillan, where I don't know where he's going to go. He could literally go.
Which one?
Jalen
Walker.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
All right, so we got the 49ers coming in right now. And saying "Go Birds" in a live Dolphins live stream. Yeah, well, we do live in the Philadelphia area. I'm used to the Go Birds. And for reference, guys, Josh lives in Connecticut, so he lives in Patriots country, and Taylor lives in Georgia, so he lives in Falcons country, I suppose, right?
Bulldogs country.
Yeah, there's no threat here.
Are you a Bulldogs fan?
Nah, not necessarily.
Oh, thank God.
I mean, I'll root for them, unless it's like a team that I'm kind of in favor of this season.
Yeah. Say it with me, fellas. Florida State.
I've always been more of a fan of the U, Josh.
Well, you can go yourself. Okay. I quit. All right, here we go. Who is it?
Let's see.
Come on. Stop filibustering. Let's go. We got shit to
Man,
do.
if this is Tyler Warren, I'm going to be livid.
Wow. Michael Williams.
Mikel Williams.
Yeah.
Okay. Gregory Rousseau is my comp. I don't hate it for them. I really don't. He's a guy that can go in. He's a guy that can go out. Not who I thought, but
again, I thought Jalen Walker was a possibility here. They went with his teammate, Michael Williams.
Yeah. There's always those players every year that everyone thinks, dude, this guy's going to go in the top 10, and he ends up in the Eagles' lap, for example.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right? Or
John Campbell is sadly looking like from what the Buccaneers picked to the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
Seems to be the landing
Malachi Starks would fall. I've seen mocks where Wilder Nolan falls in their lap, and I don't see that one happening, but I could, it's possible.
What's really exciting, and we were kind of talking about it before the pick started, is this board has fallen pretty well from Miami. Right? I mean, I had like 16 players on the team on this board that I was like, okay, if they pick any one of these at 13, I'm stoked, right? I am through the moon. I have them ranked in a specific order, but they pick any of these guys, and most of them are still available. Jahdae Barron, Tyler Warren, Will Johnson, Nick Emanwari, Jahad Campbell, Malachi Starks, Derek Harmon, and what's the guy? Jesus, where is it?
Kenneth Grant.
Kenneth Grant. Thank you. Jesus.
Yeah.
For me, throwing Siobhan Revel, I know he's probably going to be a second rounder, but I do have him graded higher.
See, a lot of those guys,
Josh Simmons,
right.
A lot of those guys for me are reach at 13. That's why I want the Dolphins to trade back here. If there's a team willing to do that,
of course,
you have to find a partner first. But
again, right? Let's assume nobody wants to trade with us.
Yeah.
If it's your guy, take him. I don't give a shit if I have a low first on him. If that's your guy, take him. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, if it's Josh Simmons, even though he's my 30th overall player, so I have him just in the first round. If it's Josh Simmons, take him. If that's your guy, take him. Right? Absolutely.
So the Cowboys are their pick is in. Who do we see the Cowboys taking here?
I bet you it's what the hell is his name? The wide receiver out of Texas.
Okay, Matthew Golden.
Yeah,
I can totally see that. Absolutely.
Yeah. What do you guys think?
I think you hit the nail on the head, Josh. I think it's Matthew Golden.
Omarion Hampton, I think it's a possibility.
Yep, that too. I bet you it's someone like Mike Green or Shamar Stewart, somebody we just don't expect.
Tyler Booker.
No.
Tyler Booker.
It's a bit of a bummer.
Look at the Cowboys being responsible and stuff. Man.
You're thinking wide receiver or running back.
Yeah, I was definitely thinking skill position.
We're on the clock, boys. As much as I like Booker, I have a second round grade on him. I think he's a crazy reach. But again, just like I just got done saying about the Dolphins, if that's your guy, hey, can't criticize you. Go take him.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, Tyler Booker was one of my favorite people, one of my favorite players in this draft. I love, Josh, Taylor, you were talking about Josh Anthony. Taylor, you were talking about a guy who's got that dog in him, guy who, just a nasty dude on the field. That's Tyler Booker.
Yeah, for sure.
He's not a guy you want to line up across from.
Wants to see the love of the game drain from his opponent's
Yes,
eyes.
exactly.
I love it. Right. But there's there's one thing to say it, and there's another thing to do it on the field and with grown ass men on an NFL field. So
yes,
we'll see it, right?
Yep.
Yes.
But guys, compared to last season, I don't know how you guys felt, but it was a thing where it was going well. A lot of players who I really liked, like Troy Fatanu, Fuwanga, a lot of players just sitting there, Jared Verse as well, who I was going, oh man, it'd be great if Miami got him. And then they all went right before. And yes, Chop Robinson worked out, but it is interesting to me looking at 13 here. And it's earlier in the draft, of course, but the board has fallen pretty well.
Yep.
Now, Taylor, I think I've asked you this question before, but like when the Dolphins drafted Chop Robinson last year, what were your thoughts on that?
I didn't hate it, but I was more so pissed off at the run of players before, where I was like, fine, I guess, Yeah,
see, I was pissed off. I wanted to throw up. There were so many guys I wanted instead of Chop Robinson. He wasn't even on my radar.
No, same. I'm going to be honest with you. I did film on him, but he was just like you, Keith. When we picked him, I was like, what?
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't hate it. I mean, I didn't like it. I wasn't excited about it, but it caught me off guard. It was similar to the year where we traded. Oh, I'm sorry, guys, that I'm about to bring this up. Where we traded with Oakland, and we only gave up like a third round pick to move up like 10 spots to number 3 overall. Right. And I was like, oh, this is great. And then we took, I'm not even going to say his name, but we took that
instead of Lane Johnson, who got hit like a pick later.
He shall not be named is who we took with that pick.
Yeah. I mean, and I was like, what? And I'm not comparing the two. I think Chop's going to be a stud, right? Chop, we said it early on in the offseason last year. This dude needs to show up because I know nothing about him. And sure as shit.
You're just saying at the time.
Yeah. By the end of the year, we were all in love with him. And I still am.
Yeah.
Right. I think he's our second best pass rusher on this team. Right. Instantly.
Yeah.
And if you count injuries, is the best pass rusher.
Yeah, I think he's the best pass rusher. I don't know what Jalen Phillips is going to be when he comes back.
Yeah. Well, he's used to it now. I mean, shit, this is like number 6 knee surgery for him or whatever it is.
Yeah. And then he posted a rehab video. The other day, looking good. He's looking good.
That dude was kissed by Greek gods, man.
Yeah.
All right, so 4 minutes and 30 seconds left now.
So many
with
options.
Not talking about a trade down, because we all think we want that. I think that's safe to say. With the board, who is your choice? Keith.
Will Johnson.
Taylor. It's safe to say it now. He's there.
Yeah.
Look.
Go ahead and say
I know.
It. Go ahead and say
I know.
Tyler Warren.
It's not a need, but that talent is too good to pass up. Tyler Warren.
Yep. And for me, it's Jahdae Barron.
Okay.
Which means
we're all going to be wrong.
Shamar Stewart is the pick. No, I'm kidding.
Look,
oh my God!
If it is somebody like that, there's so many ways that this can go.
All right, guys, the pick is in.
I won't be pissed.
Dolphins are using this pick. They are not trading back. This is not a drill, people. Now it's in commercial break right now, so we're not going to see it until after the commercial.
Of course. Always seems to be.
Guys, I'm sweaty.
But yeah, picks in. I know trade back is kind of what all three of us were like, hey, if anybody's there. But I think what you would have needed was a team like the Steelers to trade up for the quarterback of their choice, or a run on like edge rusher, right? Whenever Michael Williams went, and then the Cowboys take like Mike Green, it scares somebody to take another.
Well, you need a willing partner. And I don't know that there were teams that were, this is not one of those drafts where you want to trade up, because there's not a lot of that top end talent that people feel as though is worthy to trade up for.
Well, there were only 3, and they were gone in the first 4 picks, right? Or whatever, 5 picks or whatever it was. Right?
Exactly.
Everyone else is all in the same cluster, right?
Mm-hmm.
I will be curious, and I talked about this with another Dolphins friend of mine. Can you see the Dolphins trading back into the first? For whatever reason. Like, let's say they take Tyler Warren here and Will Johnson is there at 23 or 24. Could you see us using like Tyreek Hill plus picks or Ramsey plus picks to trade back up to get a player?
I mean, I suppose it's possible, but I honestly don't see it just because there's so many holes on this team and they need all the guys on rookie deals that they can, they can have. And they have 10 picks in this draft, 3 of which in the 7th round, I know, but they need cheap talent at this point.
And the pick is in.
You guys have no idea.
It is Josh Connerly Jr.
Is it really?
I'm kidding.
You guys have no idea how hard it is for me right now not to look at my phone because I guarantee you the pick is out there.
It's not yet. It's not yet.
Okay, you're living dangerously right now.
I mean, look, Tyler Warren's it, but I'll tell you what, if the Colts are probably waiting with their with their thing in there. So if we pick anyone but Tyler Warren, they're like, here, go ahead and call it.
That pick immediately after us. There's not even a wait right behind.
It's like the Dolphins pick and Indianapolis picks.
Goodell comes out with 2 cue cards.
Yeah.
Just announce them both at the same time.
And with the 13th and 14th pick in the NFL.
Could you imagine Dolphins don't take Warren and then the Colts don't either? Like it's been our running joke for the last few weeks. It's been really everybody who's been into the draft talking about it. It's been just that running thing going, oh yeah, the Colts are easily going to take him if he's there.
I mean, he was like the perfect pairing, right?
Yeah.
Nothing yet, fellas. I'm looking at my phone. I'm cheating.
Well, Goodell's about to come out and announce the pick.
All right.
You look at your phone.
I'm going quiet because I'm listening.
Who's it gonna be?
I don't want to hear it, Keith. Don't say it too early. I want to experience this. Keith doesn't look happy. Kenneth Grant, baby! I love that pick.
It was a neat pick. It was a neat pick.
I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
I will take it. Man, I really thought I was like, oh man, it's gonna be Shador. Somehow, some way they'll find a way. They'll take Amari and Hampton.
And the Colts pick is already in, guys.
I bet no kidding. Yeah. I got to be honest with you, fellas. I don't hate it whatsoever. I know it's probably not what a lot of us thought would happen, but
they needed a guy to start opposite Zach Steeler. I still don't think they're done with this position. This offseason, whether it be the draft or through free agency, they still need at least 2 more guys in that room, in my opinion. But it's a nice start. Kenneth Grant, I know you're a big fan of him, Josh. You always really have been. You've been a bigger fan of him than I think any of us. So
yeah.
So who's your player comp for him?
You know what? I don't have one.
Really?
I think it deleted. Hit it.
Taylor, who's yours?
Dexter Lawrence.
Dexter Lawrence. Okay.
Look,
6'3".
He is 6'3", and he's 339 pounds, and he ran just over a 5.40.
Yeah. I kind of think he's going to be the nose tackle more so than opposite of Steeler, and I'm completely okay with that because both are in need. And there's a lot of ways that I think this could have went right. I know it's not Jedi Barron. I know it's not Tyler Warren. I know it's not Keith. I cannot remember who you said as well.
Will Johnson.
But Will Johnson, who I know had medical issues.
it's a solid pick. You know, my player comp for him was Jordan Davis, defensive tackle for the Eagles.
Yep.
Well,
that's that would be amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I had a second round grade on him, right? But like I said, if this is your guy, I mean, who are we, right? And I think, honestly, I think he can bring a lot to this team that we do not have right now. And you put him next to Sealer, and I think this is a day one starter. This is a clear day one starter, in my opinion. You put him next to Zach Sealer, man.
Yep.
Our defensive line just got a lot closer to what it was when Wilkins was here than it did before.
Tyler Warren just went to the Colts.
Of course he did.
Yeah, least surprising pick. So the thing about Kenneth Grant as well, we talked about like what the Dolphins need. We talked about it on this show, right? Need dogs.
Mm-hmm.
We need people who are coming out there exuding that energy, that urgency. Kenneth Grant does that. Absolute tons of effort every single play. Love his motor, especially in the run game. Pass game is still yet to be determined. But, man, there'll be plays where he shouldn't really be around the ball. Like the running back is 15 yards downfield. And all of a sudden you see a big dude, number 78, flying downfield, and he makes the tackle.
Yep.
So I love this pick for so many reasons. I did think like, if it's between him and Derek Harmon, the way the Dolphins are, they'll pick Derek Harmon because, you know, the athletic profile and the long arms. But I'm so much – I think this is a – this
is not a sexy pick, right? This is not a sexy pick.
And I'm happy with that.
Me too.
Chris Greer sat there at that press conference and said, we need players who are going to play, who will at least contribute to the team day one. And he did reference Cam Smith going, hey, we can't just hold these players' hands anymore and wait for them to develop. Like these young players are going to have to play. It's just the way it's going to have to be. Kenneth Grant, like you said, Josh, day one, he is going to contribute. How good he's going to be, yet to be determined.
Well, I will tell you this, though. I think Kenneth Grant's going to be you know what? I'm going to say this right now, and this is going to be a hot take. I think by the end of the season, and I'm not saying this because I am a Dolphins fan. I'm saying I think Kenneth Grant ends up having a better overall season than Mason Graham. Personally, I'm not saying that he's a better player. I think Mason Graham is a better prospect, but I think he ends up I think he's in a better position, and I think he ends up having a better season at the end of his rookie year than his college running mate.
That's tough because then you're looking at the big elephant in that room is Myles Garrett, right? And Myles Garrett will help Mason Graham tremendously.
Yeah, of course he will, but I think Myles Garrett, you know, I know he signed that massive extension and he got his money and everything, but I don't know, man. I don't know. It's Cleveland, right? I mean, I don't know. I'm not saying I'll be right. I think Kenneth Grant is in a better situation, in my opinion. From an overall team, he'll get more opportunities. I feel like he'll be schemed better to make a bigger impact earlier on.
Yeah, you said like, would you be mad at the Dolphins trading back up? I think after the Kenneth Grant pick here, I kind of would.
Yeah, I mean, I think we need a cornerback, bro.
You do. There's a lot to. You're not going to make the roster whole in this draft, no matter what you do. You go and get talent. If this was a Tyler Warren pick, and it's like, we go back into the first round, get a position of need, I'd understand it more. But considering this already fills a position of need that's urgent, will be a contributor day one. Yeah, I think you stick with the picks you got. You couldn't trade down in the first round. That kind of sucks. But, hey, you sat there at 13. You didn't go out of your way to do anything crazy and just sat there, like you said, Josh, you picked position need, great player on the board.
Yep. Yeah, I know it. I don't hate the pick. The more I sit with it, the more I like it.
Yeah. Which is interesting because I wonder if we were doing this show last year And I know Keith has talked about like how he felt about Chop Robinson, but I wonder how we would be feeling about the Chop pick if we were doing this show. You know,
I mean, I can tell you right now, I probably would have been. I'm not a big fan because I didn't expect it. Right? I didn't.
Same.
You know,
I feel like we would be having the pessimistic version of this conversation right now, where it's like, oh yeah, well.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, I would have been.
This.
Honestly, I would have been scrambling trying to figure out some notes because I had really not a lot on them. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But instead, it's a player who, like I was saying, man, a run stuffer, tons of effort, absolutely relentless motor. So, very happy with that pick.
Yeah,
and sadly, Tyler Warren went right after.
Yep. Yeah. You know, I think this was a need versus a want, right? And for whatever reason, I mean, maybe they feel like they're good at they're better than we feel like they are as fans at the safety position, and they feel like they got a lot more in the room at the cornerback position. But I can tell you this: defensive tackle was my number one need, because after Sealer, it was a bunch of scrubs. So Kenneth Grant, welcome to Miami, buddy.
Yep.
We should have him on the show tomorrow.
Yeah. Go ahead and make the call, Josh. I'll see if that works.
I got you, buddy. Don't worry.
So we got the Falcons up at 15. Josh, you got any thoughts on Tyler Warren, though?
On who?
Tyler Warren, before we move on.
Yeah, I think he's the second coming of Dallas Clark. I think the dude's a stud. You know, I think I think they made a very good pick. 6'6", 260 pounds, ran a 4.6, right? I mean, this dude's elite. He's an elite tight end. I really do. I think he's going to be one of the best tight ends in this league for the next 5 to 7 years, right?
I agree, Josh.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. My cat was getting into mischief, knocking stuff over.
You're good, dude. We're on here for a couple hours. Oh, hello. So here's who Mel Kiper has as his best availables in order: Shedeur Sanders, Jalen Walker, Will Johnson, Omarion Hampton, and somebody else I couldn't read fast enough.
Oh, ESPN knows what they're doing right there. They showed Shedeur Sanders first when the Falcons are on the clock.
Yeah, right. I gotta be honest with you. I think it's the sadistic asshole in me absolutely loves that Shedeur Sanders is sitting there baking in the sun still, not drafted.
Me too.
Right. He'll probably land in Pittsburgh and they won't have to trade up and everyone will be, happy as a pig and poop. But
so look, I'm not accusing you guys of anything here, but there was some anonymous reports about Shedeur Sanders the last 2 days.
It wasn't me.
Look, I'm not not saying anything. I just want to throw that out there and wanted to hear you guys' thoughts on it.
What was the anonymous reports?
No, nothing.
No, I'm serious. I have no idea what you're talking about. I have genuinely no idea what you're talking about.
Just what we've heard the last few weeks. Not a great interviewer. Came across really rude, entitled kind of thing. And in my opinion, I hate these anonymous sources kind of reports.
Come out and say it.
You're going to say stuff. Yeah, come out and say it, But
yeah, I think I will say this, though. And I know I'm kind of playing both sides of the fence with this one, Keith, so don't hit me too hard with this one. But I think the longer it takes him to get drafted, the better situation he'll end up in.
Yeah.
Naturally.
Yeah.
Right. Which means absolutely. He might actually be successful. Right.
I don't wish any ill will on the guy. I don't like him as a prospect. I don't like him as I wouldn't draft him. He's not on my board at all.
Mm-hmm. I think the reason why he would be I won't say not on my board, but the reason why I would be really hesitant isn't even necessarily him as much as it would be like he's going to have that Tebow circus. And man, I just would not want that.
Yeah.
No matter what.
And that's part of the problem. Like, that's what you're signing up for when you draft Shedeur Sanders. You draft Shedeur Sanders, you're also redrafting Deion Sanders. Because, you expect Deion Sanders not to stick his beak into it. Yeah.
And I'm not also dogging Dion for it. That's his son. Like, I understand that, but it's something to be said there. Oh man,
it's a good pick for the Falcons.
what
Pick for
a
the Falcons.
easy pick, and they didn't screw it up. I'm so proud of the Falcons right now.
Hey, you know what? Don't overthink it. That's a good pick.
Even if it doesn't work out, they didn't do something ridiculous.
Yep.
Proud of them.
No, that's a good pick for them. I'm happy for Jalen Walker. I think Jalen Walker's he was one of my favorite players in this draft. I think he's going to just cause chaos. No matter where he lines up, he's just going to cause chaos. But getting back to Shedeur, that's part of the problem. Is when you draft Shedeur, you're drafting the circus, and Shedeur has a bad game. Is Deion Sanders going to say he had a bad game, or is he going to blame your offensive coordinator for not putting him in the best position?
Probably that.
Yeah.
That's not something I'm willing to put up with. It's not something I'm willing to sign up for. Because
even if that's true, and like, the offense coordinator is bad, you still can't you don't want that distraction. Look, we're Dolphin fans. We know all about distractions.
Yes, we do.
Ask our old offensive line coach from like 10, 15 years ago. That is one hell of a distraction.
Yes.
I mean, look at our number one wide receiver.
Yes.
Well, hell of a distraction.
Yeah.
Mildly. So
he's got a tall woman fetish. No, it makes Taylor uncomfortable every time I say it.
But
but Keith, you're 100% right. Like, you're gonna have that Deion factor.
Yeah.
And again, I do understand from Deion Sanders' standpoint, you're trying to look out for your kid and all that, but if you're the NFL GM.
Yeah.
Do you want that? And at 21 to 32, I think it becomes much more of an enticing conversation than if we were sitting at 5 with the Browns,
See, yeah, but I could see the Steelers saying pass. I could see the Steelers saying pass, and we're going to, solidify the trenches. And I could see Shedeur falling out of the first round. And honestly, that's more palatable to me because now, you're only tied to this guy for the next 4 years, really. Much less of a contract. Because these next few picks, he's not going there. He's not going to Arizona. They have Kyler Murray. He's not going to
Cincinnati.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. They haven't needed a quarterback.
Point out here with Arizona on the clock. Here's one name that I think would be very interesting. Emeka Egbuka.
I think Matthew Golden.
Oh,
yeah.
Both.
The only reason I threw out Egbuka, as much as I like him, but also the Ohio State connection with him and Marvin Harrison Jr. teaming up again.
Yeah. I think, Egbuka would be a good pick. I think Matthew Golden is everything Marvin Harrison Jr. is not as a wide receiver. He's fast. He's a field stretcher. Marvin Harrison is more of a possession guy. It's crazy to think the Cardinals could go back-to-back wide receivers and back-to-back drafts.
Man, thinking about I was thinking who's picking in the 20s. Thought about the Chargers. Everybody went, oh yeah, Loveland, 22. Chargers, easy, lock.
It felt like an obvious connection there between him and Harbaugh, though, too.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest with you though. I have defensive tackle, like for Arizona. I have defensive tackle, offensive line, and wide receiver as their top 3 needs.
Yeah. So like you say offensive tackle. Could Josh Connolly go here? Could Josh Simmons go here?
Zabel.
I mean, I see Zabel as a guard personally, but maybe.
No, I see him as a guard.
These offensive linemen don't go in the first round like we think. We all think like, there's going to be a run.
Yeah, there will be.
Somehow that second round hits and Zabel somehow still on the board or Simmons is still on the board. Man, I'd be calling a few teams at that point to trade.
Hey, we got Ramsey interested.
First round, not necessarily, but they're sitting there in the second.
How about
That's
Tyreek
when I
Hill?
think
I
he
hear you
makes
said
the
he has
call.
plenty of tall women.
Yeah, there you go. He can single-handedly increase your population count. I mean, shit. Last year he had 7 kids, or whatever it was. That's funny.
Yeah, you wait long enough, you'll have a bunch of Tyreek Hills running around your city.
Yeah, no thanks. It's going to be a hard
Yeah.
pass.
And
Who's the pick?
they're going to commercial. Wait, no, they're not.
No.
All right, Zona. I think it might be Golden.
Yeah, I think this is Golden here.
Maybe Shamar Stewart or Derek Harmon. I don't know.
Oh. Okay.
Who is it?
Walter Nolan.
Yeah. Okay. Defensive tackle. I called it. I have it as the top need. Yep. Walter Nolan's one of my guys.
So who'd you like more? Who'd you guys like more? Did you like Kenneth Grant or Walter Nolan more going into this draft?
Me? Oh,
Yeah.
Kenneth Grant by a mile.
Yeah.
Yeah, same here.
Okay.
I had a second round grade on Nolan. I think it was like, hold on.
Man, I got to be honest with you. This is updating the little ticker is actually a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be. I feel so professional.
Yeah, this is pretty cool. This is way better than we did it last year. I'll say that.
Well, if we could have used the new overlay, it would have been really, really cool because it had like above it had like NFL draft and like a cool gradient color but that'll be for next year. That's okay.
Yeah.
So I don't know about you guys. I had Nolan as my 8th best D tackle.
Wow. Okay.
Grant was number 2. Derek Harmon was 3. TJ Sanders was 4. Alfred Collins 5. Well, I'm sorry, 6th best. And then Walter Nolan at 6.
So that I guess I have to ask the question: why did you have Walter Nolan rated so low? Where clearly the Cardinals had him rated so high. So where's the disconnect?
I think he has an insane motor, but when it comes to the pass rush, I do feel like he can get turned around more than I'd like to see on film. He really just sometimes runs himself out of plays. There is some murmurs of character concerns. Honestly, especially considering they're not really specific, it's hard for me as just like a viewer, a football fan, to be like, oh, yeah, take him off the board.
Right.
So I don't really take that too much into account at all.
Yeah.
It's more so to me like great run stopper, a lot of work to be done as a pass rusher, which is what I said about Kenneth Grant, but I feel like Grant is just way more refined and ready to go.
I also don't see I don't think the Dolphins are going to ask Kenneth Grant to rush the passer, though, are they? Like, that's not the player that he is.
I mean, but that doesn't mean he won't.
Well, yeah.
Kenneth Grant's a fucking monster, dude. Like, it is monster again, like next to monster between him. I am. The more I sit with that pick, the more I'm getting more excited about him and Sealer playing next to each other.
Okay.
Think about how good that defensive line when Wilkins was there.
Yeah.
I know they're not the same player. I'm well aware. I'm not comparing the two, but just think about when we had 2 competent defensive tackles playing next to each other that were
Candle and Sealer. Look at how that was.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is Kenneth Grant. Kenneth Grant is I'm excited. But Walter Nolan I have as my 3rd D tackle or 4th D tackle. Sorry. I have Graham, Grant, Harmon, Nolan, Sanders, and Collins.
Okay.
And I have a fringe 2nd round grade on Nolan. So, low second.
Low second on Nolan.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, you're both saying the Cardinals reached on that pick then.
I mean, yeah, just from my point of view.
Yeah.
A bit, but this is also a weird draft in a way to where, look, I wasn't a big fan on Nolan, but I'm not going to sit here and go, man, they really reached, because there is so much to like about him. I love how tenacious he is. I do love how intelligent he plays in the run game. The dude is in my opinion, he is an athletic freak. He reminds me a lot of Ed Oliver over there in Buffalo.
I have Milton Williams as my player comp.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah,
but I'll tell you this:
How much you got, Dave?
would you rather have Walter Nolan in the first or Alfred Collins in the third? I would rather have Alfred Collins in the third. Like that's how I, part of my process was: would I rather have this guy here or this guy here? Okay, I'd rather have this guy here. Okay, I need to drop him down a little bit.
Right.
And I would rather have Walter Nolan in the second than I would Alfred. Like I think that's a better player to draft position. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah. Well, I mean, I think Walter Nolan's a slight reach, but I don't really give a shit about the Cardinals. So I'm glad they reached, because that just means that yet another good player is falling down to 48.
Yeah. So with Kenneth Grant, like, did you guys both have first round grades on him? Fringe first round, yeah.
Oh, no, I had a solid, top 25. I think I have him as my 21st overall player.
All right, so strengths and weaknesses of Kenneth Grant. Just Lamb. This is the Dolphins channel. Let's talk about Kenneth Grant.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, go ahead, Taylor.
So this is funny. I have Kenneth Grant ranked as the number 13 overall on my board.
Oh, wow.
I kind of already went through the strengths and weaknesses. Like I said, he's the less talked about premier D tackle on Michigan's defensive front. Kenneth Grant is a run-stuffing disruptor with a reliable swim move that get past matchups and plays with a lot of effort. And I really am underselling that. I was telling Josh earlier, telling the chat that there was a few plays, and not even one. It's not just one instance. There's multiple plays where 15 yards downfield, no business him being involved in this play. And there is just a big man, number 78, come barreling at you, and he's making that hard hit. So he's somebody who is such a high motor. You want dogs on the Dolphins defense, you're getting one with him. I do think when it comes to pass rush, that tool set isn't fully there. They're similar to me with, not in the same kind of way, but him and Mason Graham both had that problem, I would say. Like, can they rush the passer? And with Grant, I think that is something that's still developing.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see what that ends up being, but I do think he's one of those players that is going to be a fantastic run stopper at the very least. Yeah,
so I have a lot of strengths on him. Elite size and power, 340 pounds, right? He is a space eater. Anchor in the middle, he's going to anchor that middle. Or he's going to allow Sealer to play the way Sealer plays, which I think is very, very important. He's got insanely shocking burst for the size that he is off the line of scrimmage, right? I think to Taylor's point, he is a run stuffer supreme is how I have it written down, right? He is going to lock the run down. He's going to stack and shed. He's going to do everything you need to do on a consistent basis. Oh, Shamar Stewart going to the Bengals.
Yeah.
Such a Bengals pick.
It is.
Pick. And the other strength I have for Kenneth Grant is the Michigan pedigree.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that's not something. It's nothing you can quantify, right? But he played a big role on one of the college football's most dominant teams in 23 and 24. Yeah. Right. I mean, he was being mentioned on during games more so than Mason Graham. I'm not saying he's a better player, right? But while you stepped away, Keith, I don't know if you heard it, but my hot take is that by the end of the rookie seasons, I think Kenneth Grant has a better season statistically than Mason Graham.
Okay. I'm here for it.
And just to add on, by the way, there was a time period in this offseason, I was telling you guys, I was like, man, I'm not sure about Mason Graham. And it was because of him going into the combine at 290 and not knowing where he plays at. Because Mason Graham, to me, the big selling point on Mason Graham is he's a 320-pound dude who's moving the way he moves and just getting that job done. And if he's at 290 and doing that, I don't know. You're lacking the thing that I think made him special. And then he goes at his pro day and he's 306. Yeah, I know the arm length issues as well. So it went from 290 with the arm length issues being like, all right, I don't know if he's really better than Kenneth Grant, to, oh, no, I'm going to stick with my evaluation. I think Mason Graham is D tackle 1, but Grant isn't as far behind as, in my opinion, as many people would have him.
Right, exactly. And there are some weaknesses, if you want, or whatever, however you want to turn. I think you said it earlier, Taylor. Limited pass rush arsenal, I think that's something. But he's got some stuff in his bag. He's not coming in with nothing in his pass rush arsenal. It's just very limited. He's got the bull rush. That's about it. And I think he needs to work on hand technique. But this is all stuff that is expected out of a rookie that's picked at the 13th pick. He's going to have to work on shit, right? Stuff. Sorry. Wow. I'm really letting the bombs fly today. The other thing that I did notice in my film watching with him is conditioning and endurance.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, I think early on, he'll be a starter. He's a day one starter, in my opinion. But I do think that he will rotate in and out a little more than you want from your starter, especially given the Miami Heat. I think, the humidity stuff, I think really genuinely once he gets accustomed to it and he gets into that, and I hate to be repetitive, but he gets into that NFL kind of routine, that, the endurance and the weightlifting and all that stuff, I think he's going to become a much stronger and much more conditioned athlete and player, which means he's going to be on the field more, which is exactly what you want. And I think
which is why you have Benito Jones, by the way. You have Benito Jones who, look, he's not a world beater by any means, but as a backup, we talked about him after the season. Somebody to especially help out a rookie like Kenneth Grant. I love that pairing. Yeah,
and I think the lateral agility is a big thing, right? He's a rocket north to south for a man of his size. But to Taylor's point, when he's full speed, he's a big dude. He's got to go east and west. It's a little tricky. So I think, working on some of that agility is yet another thing that he needs to work on. But I mean, if we're talking about he needs to become a little bit better conditioned and he needs to be more lateral, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's I mean, it's going to take one off season to get his conditioning up, honestly.
Exactly.
One training camp in Miami Dolphins Heat, his conditioning is going to be up. And lateral movement, hand placement, that's all coaching right there. Like that, there's nothing in his game that can't be fixed.
Exactly.
Yeah. The only other flaw I had in his game that we didn't really talk about, I do think he has times, it's not like a major thing, but there are times where I think he struggles against offensive linemen who win with power.
Okay.
So yet again, Keith, I think you hit nail on the head. That is something I think you can coach. You can help. So there's so many pros in his game. And also, to go back to last year, I think I made a lot of comparisons to last year's first-round pick to this. It worked out with Chop, yeah. But there was a lot of questions and a lot of projection with Chop Robinson.
Yeah.
Yeah, tons.
Yeah.
This, to me, I'm not sure the ceiling is the same as Chop, but, man, I think I feel a lot better about this pick than I did a year ago after the Chop pick.
And you know what is big for us?
That's spicy.
Who is it?
Gray Zabel to the Seahawks.
Man, that sucks.
Wow. Didn't see that coming, but I love the pick. I'm a huge fan of Zabel.
All right, so Mac McFarland jumping on late to John to a trade from this morning.
So this is my brother from another mother right here.
Okay. So is this where you got it from, Josh? The Tua trade?
Yeah, he did it to me, and okay. I didn't buy it because I only bought it for like a millisecond, right? And I called him afterwards after I sent it to you, and I was sharing what you guys were saying, and he's like, you know what? But that millisecond was so good.
Yeah. So I was telling Josh, Mac, he sent that text to me this morning. I was unfortunately driving while I read the text. I almost drove off the road. I was stunned. Fortunately, Josh, might be stupid for about 30 seconds before he said, "Yeah, no, April Fools."
I didn't want to let it marinate too long.
Well, I was gonna have to pull over and just like start, maybe start crying or something, crying uncontrollably. But yeah, that was a good one. I like that. So Gray Zabel.
Sorry for the
to be clear, like that's pretty much my fault. I shouldn't have been texting and driving.
That's funny.
So I have a confession to make about Gray Zabel.
Yeah.
I did see some film on him. I saw, I think, 1 to 2 games, but it was less than a lot of the other players at the position. unfortunately, because it was just harder to find North Dakota
Yeah.
State film. So there's a part of me that is kind of glad that we didn't take Gray Zabel, because I would have felt like, all right, I got to go see even more from him.
Don't be glad. Don't be glad. This dude is a stud. Here are my strengths.
He is. From what I've seen, in my write-up here, hey, did you want your team to get Graham Barton? Well, here's the second chance. And the Seahawks made the most of that second chance.
Yep, pretty much. So
that's my pro comp, by the way. He's a 5-tool player. I think he can play any position. And man, he's a dog. He played through the whistle.
And Graham Barton was a dude I was banging the table for last year. I wanted him so bad. And he was available to him when they took Chop. Now again, now that the dust is settled, I watched Chop play his rookie season. It's hard to say I'm still upset about that pick, because Chop was awesome for the Dolphins last year, and he's only going to get better. Especially when he's not the focal point of the Dolphins pass rush. You know, you bring Jalen Phillips back, hopefully Bradley Chubb comes back, nice and healthy. Chop's, he's primed for an even better season this year. But I wanted Graham Barton bad last year. I wanted him real bad.
Yeah, my player comp for Zabel is Elton Jenkins from the Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
Strengths, just for those that are watching that might not know, North Dakota State football. Versatility was number one, far and away, right? He has extensive experience at multiple positions, including left tackle, right tackle, left guard, and right guard, right? Everything but center. Mm-hmm. He's an athletic freak at 6'6", 312 pounds, but he blocks his space. He pulls out amazingly. Very, very similar to, think prime Teron Armstead, right? Tall guy, but fast, right?
Yeah.
Big, tall guy, but can pull out and lead block on your edge rushes, right? That's the kind of player Zabel is. He is better. He's better at run blocking than he is at pass blocking, but they're both very good, right?
Yeah.
And his football IQ and his processing speed is the best, in my opinion, one of the best in the class. I think, I mean, if not the best in the class.
So you say he's a better run blocker than pass blocker.
We're splitting hairs here. In the run game, he's excellent at with his finishing instincts, right? So he knows when to stack and shed. He knows when to pull in and press. He knows he's consistently driving defenders into the turf, or if you've watched The Blind Side, taking them to the bus, coach. Right? That's the kind of player he is.
Guys, that's how far at the bottom of the barrel we are.
I do want to go back one pick. Shamar Stewart. We kind of glossed over that one. What do you guys think of that for the Bengals?
I like the pick. Fits. It kind of fits what I think the Bengals like at edge. I had him as my number 3.
Okay.
Edge rusher. I have Shamar Stewart is best described as a fridge on wheels. He possesses an explosive first step, and I'm just going to give you the cliff notes here. Athletic freak, all the potential in the world. He gets to the quarterback a hair too late, and there's absolutely the production's a problem. Like exactly what Chop Robinson had. Yeah. This is Shamar Stewart, and also he might be even more raw. I know a lot of people think like, oh, he has no tools in the toolbox. Like this guy is that raw of a prospect. I don't think he's that. I think he's more refined there. But
are you at all concerned about the fact that he only had 4.5 sacks in his entire college career?
Not kind of. Because the production is something that you can't ignore, right?
Yeah.
And that's something with Chop, too, that I feel like was a valid criticism.
But the thing is, there's a difference here between Shamar Stewart and Chop Robinson, I think, though, because, Chop Robinson was known as a pass rushing specialist coming out of Penn State. That's what he did. And there was a lack of production. Now, he got, a lot of QB hits and a lot of QB hurries and everything like that, but, he wasn't known for playing the run. That's what Shamar Stewart's known for. Shamar Stewart is an excellent run defender, but he had 4.5 sacks in his entire college career. That's what has me concerned about him. And in the first round, you want to draft a guy like that in the second round, cool. That's a good pick.
And I really do think he's the ultimate boomer bust, right, in this draft.
Yeah.
I mean, genuinely,
Yeah.
him and James Pierce Jr., right?
Ooh.
Who'd they take?
Emeka Egbuka
Hey,
I
over
like that.
over
Wow.
Matthew Golden. Yeah.
That's wild. That's wild. But real quick on Shamar Stewart, right? I think, elite athleticism, versatility across every. He can play any position on the defensive line. And his best trait, I have as his best trait is his run defense.
Yeah.
And his player comp is Rashawn Gary, if that helps. And you want to visualize it.
I totally agree with Josh. I think, we had the same player comp as well.
Did we?
So,
Did we?
Yeah, we do. I have Rashawn Gary. And not only that, I think he played it in the 270s, 280s. I think now he's around the 250s, 260s. So when it comes to that pass rush, if he can keep up what he does in the run game, but he's a hair faster,
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's exactly what he needs to get him over the hump as a pass rusher.
Yeah. And again, Trey Hendrickson is still in Cincinnati for the time being. Pair him with Trey Hendrickson. That's not bad. But again, I like Shamar Stewart in the second round. I don't think you draft a guy who's a good. You don't draft a defensive end who's a good run defender in the first round. That's not. That's not my idea of a good pick. But to your point, Taylor, if he can clean that up, if he can become better, a hair faster in the pass rush, Bengals might have something there.
And really quick, I know Denver's on the clock. I'm calling it now. They're taking Amari in Hampton.
Yeah, I could totally see that.
Yep. Now,
Golden on the board too.
Golden's on the board too. Yeah. Do we want to talk about Egbuka a little bit, or?
Yeah, let's talk about Egbuka a little bit and why they took him over Matthew Golden, who's still on the board.
Yeah. So I don't. For me, I have his player comp as Amon-Ra St. Brown.
Okay.
Egbuka.
Yeah.
I have him as my number 4 wide receiver. I have Tet McMillan as my number 1, Golden is number 2, Jaden Higgins, and then Egbuka. It was close though. I mean, they're literally number 33 and number 34, Higgins and Egbuka. So I mean, really interchangeable. Strengths.
Yeah.
Egbuka's route running and separation is bananas. I mean, he's such a nuanced route runner, and he knows how to use his body and his eyes and his everything to leverage the defender off of their points. Right.
Mm-hmm.
He's versatile, right? I mean, I think in college, if I'm not mistaken, he lined up primarily as a slot receiver, but he does have the ability and the speed and the route running tree to be an outside X receiver. His football IQ is bananas. One of the key strengths that I have is his leadership. He was on a big program at Ohio State, and he was their team captain. He was all academic Big Ten. He was, I think I read a report saying that he not only was in the wide receiver room sessions, but he also went to the cornerback and the safety sessions so that he could learn from them to better increase his skills. So it shows initiative, and his ball skills and his yak ability were my final 2 strengths.
I love Egbuka. I like him. He's actually my second favorite wide receiver in this draft behind.
He's good, dude.
Behind Tet McMillan, and honestly, he might have been. So his route tree that you talked about, Josh, you touched on that.
So nuts. Yeah.
Guy is a great route runner. And there are certain things you can teach a guy to become a better route runner, but you can't teach a guy to be as naturally amazing at it as he is. My player comp for him is Jackson Smith and Jigba, coincidentally another Ohio State guy. But I love Egbuka coming out of this draft. I loved him probably more than most. I would say he for me he was a top 20 guy, and I like him in Tampa Bay too because their receiving core is actually getting older, a lot older. Mike Evans is nearing the end. Mm-hmm. Chris Godwin, he's been in the league for a few years now, coming off of a devastating ankle injury. Really solid pick for them. I thought they were going to go defense. I thought they were going to go like a Jahad Campbell type of guy, or maybe safety, but still don't hate the pick.
No, not at all. And you know what's crazy is that he's in a room now with 2 vets, and Godwin and Evans.
Yeah,
dude, he's going to learn so much if he can just come in and be a sponge. this dude is going to be a stud. And I'm a big Baker Mayfield fan.
So am I.
I mean,
I love Baker Mayfield.
I don't know, man. Like,
So Mac here makes a great point talking about that Chris Godwin's in recovery, had that nasty injury last season. I agree 100%. I think this is a great move by the Bucks because you guys also nailed it. That's an aging wide receiver room that is much. You really need to get some youth in there. I know you got some. Who did they get last year? They got the guy from Washington, who not Polk, but the other guy, McMillan. I want to say.
I'm drawing a blank.
But they got the other Washington wide receiver who ended up being pretty solid as a depth piece. So you add to that room, add some youth there. So I really like it, man. He's a player who is not flashy compared to the T-Max or Matthew Golden, but he is so just
he's polished.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
he's
he's
polished.
ready to go.
And you rarely see that out of receivers coming out of college. You don't see receivers who, again, have that full route tree that can just run every route for you, and you rarely see that. Even like Marvin Harrison Jr., who was regarded as like this generational prospect coming out of Ohio State last year, had some work to do with his route tree.
Yeah. I mean, and it showed, right? It showed in his production. He had a really bad year, all things considered.
Yeah, I mean,
no, I push back on that. Everybody says like he had a horrible year. He had a fine rookie season.
He did.
The problem is,
whoa, time out. A fine rookie season is not what you expect with the player coming out with. He's the next Megatron. Like, I'm sorry.
Look,
I took
fine
him in the
rookie
round
season
of
for a wide receiver. The problem is Malik Neighbors existed, and so did Rob Bowers, two guys who broke records as rookies. So I get it. I'm just not ready to go.
I took Harrison Jr. in the third round of my fantasy football draft, expecting him to have a Malik Neighbors type of season. And I kept on shouting him out there, and he just disappointed me week after week.
Same.
And that's not his fault.
If it makes you feel any better, I spent a first-round pick in my dynasty league on the guy that can't speak in Carolina, and he didn't do jack for me. So,
well, yeah.
All right, what do we think? What do we think, guys? Are they going running back?
Bo Nix is out here making the pick. So,
all right, so that means wide receiver.
That's not actually Bo Nix, by the way.
No.
But who's not watching the draft and for some reason tuning in.
I think he's actually a kid who survived cancer.
Well, now
maybe let's not make fun of him.
I wasn't making fun of him. I was saying, hey, looks similar to Bo Nix.
He's got a nice jawline for a guy that's survived cancer.
Yeah.
All right, I think it's Omari and Hampton. I think it's the running back. Yeah.
Ooh.
Who is it? Hold on.
Hey,
Barron.
Son of a.
You knew he wasn't going to last out of the first round, Josh.
Hey, we can hope. Damn it.
Good pick for them. I expected them to go offense personally, but
that's a really good pick.
That's a good pick. Man, him and Patrick Surtain.
Oh, man, their cornerback room is so solid right now. It's
it is.
It's not even funny.
Good pick. The medicals on Will Johnson must be really concerning for him to drop out of the top 20.
Oh, dude, his medicals are like, all joking aside, they're bad. They're like they're not even. Oh, he has a sore shoulder. I mean, they're serious. You know what I mean?
Well, they must be, because again, you look at Will Johnson's 2023 tape. He's a top 5 pick in this class.
Oh, for sure.
Medicals
make a difference. You know?
Yeah, they do.
I don't agree with it, right? I think Will Johnson could be, he could be, and I heard this from Kyle Kraft, so I can't take credit for this, but he's the type of player where you draft him, you give him a second contract, and by year 7 or 8, he's out of the league, right? But you got him for 7 or 8 years, and you got outstanding production from him, right? So I mean, I'm not knocking him, but that's why he's falling, right? Because there's there's concerns about his shoulder, his knee, I think his ankle, his quad.
Yeah.
You know, this reminds me, and it's not on the same level because obviously I think Tunsil was a much better prospect coming out, but this is kind of Tunsil-esque, right? Where some team in the late 20s or Buffalo are going to take Will Johnson, and he's going to be a fucking Pro Bowler for 5 years.
I'm going to throw up all over my computer table if the Buffalo Bills get
dude, you better get started. Oh, look who's on the clock.
Yeah.
It's a possibility. Quarterback is a possibility here.
Wow.
Barron. Whoops. I think I can lock in Shedeur Sanders.
Sanders next.
For sure. I mean, you would think.
This is where I had him mocked. Okay, Steelers don't have a second round pick too, so
this is
their shot.
This is one of the quarterbacks for sure.
Yeah,
and I actually like Jackson Dart a lot better than Shedeur Sanders, but I think Shedeur Sanders probably gets picked because I think if any team is going to be able to reel him in, it's going to be Mike Tomlin.
Right.
And I think from a talent level, he's a little bit better than Jackson Dart. The reason I like Jackson Dart a lot more than Sanders is because of all of the off the field shit you don't have to worry about.
Yeah.
Man, Jahdae Barron, really, him going, really. I was pulling a Taylor. I was like, I'm not going to talk about him. I'm just going to sit here and be quiet. I'm just not going to mention. I'm not even looking at his name.
I thought it was going to be offensive player.
Yeah.
Considering where the team is right now, they had a surprising season last season with Bo Nix being great and Sean Payton finally getting his quarterback.
They need more firepower.
I will say this. If it is Shedeur Sanders, I like it.
I do too.
For Pittsburgh.
If it's a quarterback, I like it because of the situation.
It's not Shedeur, boys. It's not Shedeur.
Is it Dart?
It's Derek Harmon.
Really?
Yes. Derek Harmon.
Wow.
Interior defensive lineman.
I feel bad for laughing. Oh, man.
I mean, look, Cam
Hayward ain't going to be around forever.
Dalvin Tomlinson is my player comp, right? Not a bad pick, but it's wow.
It's a Pittsburgh pick. Like they might think that Aaron Rodgers is coming to town, honestly.
Oh, you want to talk about throwing up on your keyboard?
No, but like you said, Taylor, Cam Hayward isn't going to he's not going to play forever.
Mm-mm.
So it's a solid pick. It's a solid Pittsburgh Steelers-esque pick. You know, the last time the Steelers reached, I put that in air quotes, on a quarterback in the first round, they ended up regretting it. You know, Kenny Pickett.
Oh, Kenny Pickett. Yeah, that's right.
You know, that felt like a reach at the time. It felt like all right, well, we need to get Big Ben's heir apparent in here. We need to get, it was a season after Big Ben retired. And, he played at Pittsburgh, brought him in there, and he failed.
I don't know. I don't think that's the same as Jackson Dart or Shedeur Sanders, right? I think both of them are much better players.
I don't.
Kenny Pickett? Stop. Yeah. Oh, dude. You gotta go back and watch film. I
didn't like any of them. For one thing, Shedeur Sanders is not on my board. So
yeah, I understand that, but he has talent. I mean, he won
and Jackson Dart to me is a second round pick.
Well, I have him as a second round, so I can't complain. But quarterbacks are overvalued.
Yeah.
Right? But I mean, in Shedeur Sanders, my player comp is Jared Goff, and Jackson Dart is Sam Darnold, right? But from a play style standpoint, right? So not from a physical standpoint. I don't know, man. I don't know. But hey, he's fallen. I'm okay with it, right? Derek Harmon, do we want to talk about him a little bit?
Sure.
Yeah, I really like this pick. I'm kind of surprised I went through with it, especially with Martin Hampton on the board as well.
Mhm.
The interior defensive line, D-line in general, I think is a need for them.
Mhm.
I think he stands out due to those long arms, burly frame, explosive first step. The big issue I had with him is whenever he barrels through the offensive line, no breaks whatsoever, but also no plan.
Yeah.
He's just going to try to get to quarterback, straight line speed. Quarterback moves, he has no ability to really move on that dime and go after him. The pursuit angles, that's the real flaw for me. But other than that, man, I love the fit.
Yeah, I mean, look, he played 14 games last year, 45 total tackles, 10.5 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, 4 pass defenses, and 2 forced fumbles, right? I think versatility across the line, he's that kind of guy. You can play him at nose, you can play him at 3, you can play him at the edge, 3 tech or the edge, right? His run defense and his pass rush, or his run defense is probably his strongest suit in my opinion. I don't know if you'd agree with that, Taylor. His pass rush potential is there, right? I think he's got potential. He's got a quick first step. His move that he goes through that I noticed a lot on film is that rip and club, right? So it lets the linemen kind of attach themselves to him, rips through the arms, and then clubs over to almost like a swim move, right? And he's country strong. This dude is country strong. You know what I mean? And he's got this, seemingly a surprisingly high football IQ for the production, right? I mean, he knows where to be. He knows how to adjust. He knows how to bait. He knows how to, adjust based on what the offense is doing. Lateral agility is a weakness. We already talked about that. And his tackling is concerns. It concerns me. I watched quite too many missed tackles from him.
You don't normally hear that out of defensive tackles either. So that's concerning.
I mean, he had 10.5 tackles for loss. It probably would have been closer to 17, 18.
Wow.
He had 5 sacks last year, which probably would have been closer to 7 or 8. Right? So, I mean, missed tackles counts.
Yeah.
Yep. And did Chargers run up to get a Marion Hampton here?
You think so? What are their needs? What do you have?
They just got Najee Harris from the Steelers.
So do they run up to get a Marion Hampton here?
Yeah, I don't think that Najee Harris stops you from doing anything.
No, but who else is in that room though? Is J.K. Dobbins still there?
I mean, him
I
and
think
his
he's
one in his one ankle.
Yeah.
No knees, one ankle. I like for them if they're going running back. I like actually Travion Henderson a lot more for them.
Okay.
Right, Nick Chubb.
Yeah, but can he draft the Ohio State guy?
No, and he, I don't know. He can't. But maybe
he
goes
can.
Will Johnson. Maybe this is where Will Johnson goes.
Maybe. I could say it. They lost Asante Samuel this offseason, who's still a free agent, so it's possible. There's
would be a good fit, and he knows him well.
Yeah.
Matthew Golden still on the board too.
That's wild to me that Golden is there.
Yeah.
This is insane to me that at pick 22, Matthew Golden is still on the board.
And, you pointed that out, Taylor, Matthew Golden. That's actually a perfect fit for the Chargers here. They need some firepower on offense.
You know what's making me – oh, you know what? I'm not even going to say it. Never mind. I ain't doing it today, Satan. Okay, fine. I'll do it. I like that Starks and Imanwari are still here. The Chargers select Starks and Imanwari.
Well, 23 and 24, they're 2 prime candidates for Starks and Imanwari.
Sure.
Like one of those guys is going off the board in the next 3 picks, I think. At least one.
God, could you imagine Imanwari in Minnesota?
Yeah.
That's terrifying.
Put him with Brian Flores and just watch those 2 cook.
Or Imanwari in Baltimore.
Oh, God. No.
If we're talking perfect fits, Imanwari in Baltimore, I really like.
Yeah, man. You really want to make me throw up on my keyboard tonight, don't you?
I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. And then Jihad Campbell to Kansas City would make me just kill myself on
Ugh.
air.
Oh,
If all three of those happens, I might not be on the show anymore, fellas. All right, who do we think it's gonna be?
I would go Matthew Golden here.
I'm gonna go Omar and Hampton.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they need a running back bad.
I
gonna be
want it to be a Martin
Simmons.
Hampton.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be Will Johnson.
Will Johnson. Okay. Clock's still ticking down on them. It's under 10 seconds now.
They could be trying to make a trade. Somebody could be trying. They could be.
That's what I thought about the Dolphins when their clock was ticking down so low.
Wait. Oh, Will Johnson. There he is. I was like, wait, where the hell do I have him on my board?
All right, the pick is in. Chargers pick is in.
Dum 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 dum.
The further along we get in the first round here, and now Shador is still on the board, I could see a team like maybe the Saints trading back up into the first round.
Cleveland.
Yeah, Cleveland. Yeah,
Mhm.
totally. Could totally see it. Actually, wow. Yeah, could totally see that happening.
Yeah, in one of my mocks, I had Cleveland trading back up with us to take Shador Sanders.
Okay. Wait,
They had
back
to
up, back up into the first round at 13?
Yeah. Yep. And they
They must
traded.
have gotten a king's ransom from them.
That was
I said-
yesterday, right?
No, I sent you guys the picture of it. It was the other days. We got their. We traded out, so we got. I think it was like 42 or whatever they have. It was 63. I think is what they have. 90 something. We gave them one or like 155, and we got their first round pick the following year.
Not a bad haul.
Yeah. Something like that. I can't. Ish.
Still waiting on the Chargers pick here.
No, come on. I got to type this in. Let's go. Fuck's sake. Dude, the more I see Ibuka to Buccaneers, the more I like that.
Yeah. It's actually a great fit. I just, every mock I did for them, I had them going defense. I never once considered an offensive player for them.
Same, because I feel like defense is their bigger need, but I guess you can't pass up a player like him. I mean, he was number 2 wide receiver on your board, right?
Yeah, and I mean, looking back on it, like when I really think about it, I like him more than Ted McMillan, so he should have been number 1.
Jeez.
I like him a lot. Like I said, I like him a lot more than most do.
And there's nothing wrong with that. All right, come on, let's go.
Here we
Stop
go.
hugging each other. Who is it?
Marion Hampton.
Is it?
Yep.
I called it, baby. I love it when I'm right.
Good pick. Good pick. I like Marion Hampton a lot.
Oh, hell yeah.
If he wasn't in the same class as Ashton Genty, he would have been talked about a lot more than he has.
Yeah, I think this is a good pick. I really do.
Solid pick, and it's a Harbaugh pick too. Harbaugh wants to run the ball. Harbaugh wants himself a bell cow. Wants to run the ball. He had Frank Gore all those years in San Francisco. Donovan Edwards when he was at Michigan. Like this is a Harbaugh pick right here.
Mm-hmm.
Blake Corum also when he was at Michigan.
Blake Corum, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And what you're going to Marion Hampton is a human pinball.
Yeah.
You really are. Incredible body control. Top line speed is a thing I think a lot of people will talk about, but not only did he test pretty well at the combine, but honestly, I think it's fine. I kind of think there was a little bit of overthinking.
I mean,
when it came to that,
but like lack of top end speed, that's not super concerning for me for a guy who's going to get the ball 20, 25 times a game. Like, this is a guy that's meant to wear defenses down, not necessarily hit home runs for you.
You want to know why this is such a perfect fit and why I had this mocked for a while? My player comp is Jonathan Stewart, and I have the best NFL fits are the Broncos as number 1 and the Rams as number 2.
Yeah, I can say it.
So
I think
had
my
him
comp
off the
was
Broncos.
Marco Murray.
Yeah, that's a good one. Here's his college over 3 seasons. Here are his stats at UNC. 3,565 rushing yards on 622 carries over 3 years, 5.7 yards average per carry over 3 seasons. 36 rushing touchdowns, 73 receptions for 635 yards and 4 touchdowns. He earned first team all ACC honors in both 2023 and 2024. I think one strength that I didn't hear mentioned, I'm trying not to be super repetitive, is every single year he improved as a pass protector.
Yeah.
His pass protection is solid. I mean, willingness is key in pass protecting, and he loves putting his face in your chest, right?
Yeah.
Not like Tyreek Hill does with tall women. Every time I say that, I watch Taylor there. He's like shaking his head.
Now I feel like I gotta be performative. Like if I don't somehow give you like a disappointed look, I will disappoint you actually.
Yeah, then you'll get the disappointed look.
So Mac McFarland just made a point. Cleveland could possibly wait on Shedeur for first pick in the second. No team left needs a quarterback. So would you wait for the first pick in the second if you're Cleveland? Or would you trade up into the first to get in control over him for another season?
All right, well, are you asking me or are you asking Mac?
I'm asking everybody. Like both ends of the coin here.
So I think honestly, if he's your guy, you trade up. You don't risk it, right? Because there are plenty of other teams that did not take a quarterback, that need a quarterback, that could then trade up and you miss out. If there's a team and it's a reasonable price that you feel comfortable doing and you are sold that this is your guy, then you trade up and take him, right? You don't risk it for the biscuit. I think if you're lukewarm on him and you're like, you know what, if he's there, sure. And if he's not, okay, then I think you wait, right? Because if even if a team trades up for him, for Sanders, Jackson Dart will probably be there. And I think, in my opinion, I think he's a better player, right?
Yeah.
What about you, Taylor?
With the Packers on the – I agree. I think it's kind of tough, though, because you're sitting with the first overall pick in the second round, right? And it depends on how we're getting near to the end of the first round. If the board falls a certain way, that first pick in the second round would be very valuable to trade. So it does go to what you were saying, Josh. Like, is he your guy, or is it a guy that's like, oh, yeah, we'll take him, I guess. If it's the latter, you sit with that pick, see if you get any good trade offers tomorrow, and then if not, you take Shedeur. With the first pick tomorrow. If not, go ahead and trade up. But with the Packers on the clock right now,
But to Mac McFarland's point here, I think Rodgers is close to signing with the Steelers. There's a reason why they passed up on Shedeur Sanders.
I don't know, man. I don't know what gives any team confidence, to like play Rodgers.
I mean, he wasn't like Peyton Manning level bad.
So
in terms of in 2013 or whatever that year, like was his last season where Brock Osweiler was coming in.
I think Rodgers got better as the season went on last year, as he continued to recover from that Achilles injury. Like, I'm not saying he's prime Aaron Rodgers, but I don't think Steelers need a guy to be prime Aaron Rodgers to be successful.
Well, here's my problem with Aaron Rodgers, though. It's the same problem you have with Shedeur Sanders.
Fair.
It's the talent's there.
Yeah.
The talent's there. It's all the off the field crap and all of the interviews he does and all the drugs he does. Hey, look, you do you, but all the spiritual journeys or whatever the hell you want to call it that he goes on, and then he comes in the building and he thinks his shit doesn't stink, and it's like, dude, like, just come in and play football. Why do you got to bring there's just so much baggage with Aaron Rodgers that I'm tired of hearing of it, which is why I'm so sour on him. Sure, he can play well. Sure, he's almost 40, if he's not 40 already. Maybe he's over 40. I don't know how old he is. He's old.
He's around 40.
This isn't Tom Brady coming to the Bucs, right? You're getting a very washed quarterback on a team that's questionable, right? I don't know. I just don't see it. But if they do it, great. That just means they're not going to. He might cause Mike Tomlin to finally have an under 10-win season for the first time in his career.
And also, Aaron Rodgers, at his age, the kind of player he is, he's not going to stop a team from taking a quarterback.
Fair.
No, he's not. He's not. But if you're not super high on Shedeur Sanders and you think Aaron Rodgers is coming to town, you kick the can down the road for another season. That's just what you do.
Well, I mean, best case scenario, you bring in Aaron Rodgers and he tanks everything, and you get Manning next year.
Yeah,
Right?
That's
true.
if Manning comes out as well. He might
Well,
see
now with the
another season.
NILs, there's no urgency. I read something that the UCLA quarterback that was in all the news with the controversy when he went to Tennessee, or the Tennessee quarterback that went to UCLA, whatever it was.
Yeah.
And he got $4 million as an NIL.
Yeah.
That was more than Brock Purdy has made in his career as Mr. Irrelevant, right?
Yeah.
I think Brock Purdy's only made like just over $3 million in his career so far, brought teams to the Super Bowl, won, NFC championship, what?
Yeah.
And he's made less than this 18-year-old kid in college. It's crazy to me.
Something, and this might not be the well. Let's wait for the Packers pick to come in. But I did want to.
Are you about to jump into NIL?
Well, no, I was about to jump in. Actually, I was about to have a Brock Purdy conversation, but
okay, yeah, let's hold off until this pick is in, and then please, the stage is yours, good sir. I have a spoiler alert if you couldn't tell. I have a problem with NIL.
Yeah, I do too.
But talk about this Packers pick for a second. I would be surprised if it's not Will Johnson or Matthew Golden. One of the two.
See, I would be surprised if
I'm
this
going
wasn't
to I'm going to say Jihad Campbell.
I'm saying Malachi Starks.
I'm going to say Jihad Campbell. All right, let's go, man. Come on, Mark Murphy. Stop yamming.
This is.
Oh, wait, it's in Green Bay. Okay.
It's in Green Bay. There's going to be some pomp and circumstance with this pick.
Yammer on. Go ahead. I forgot. Let's go. It's not like we're waiting for you. It's not like it's 10:45 at night.
Surprised they didn't resurrect Rex Lombardi to make this pick for them.
Bring in the sorcerers from New Orleans.
Yes, we know. Only community-owned team in the NFL.
Yeah, good for you guys. That's great.
Yeah,
Nobody really cares.
They really bang that drum loudly, don't they?
I hope you again, I'm watching this on mute. I have no idea. So it was just Mark Murphy over here saying stuff.
Yeah, he's waving at the fans. Yeah. No, I can't deal with Mark Murphy anymore. Mac just texted me that, Mac McFarland just texted me. Yeah. He's like, maybe hold on, what did he say? What about Finkel Einhorn Jr.? That's funny. All right, come on. I got to type this in. Let's go, bro.
Matthew Golden, guys.
Good call, man. Hey, what a great pick for them. Honestly, what a phenomenal pick for them. This guy dropped.
He could have easily been the first wide receiver off the board over Ted McMillan and Emeka Egbuka. And he's the third wide receiver off the board, number 23. It's a low-key steal for the Packers here. So, good for them. The draft is in Green Bay. This is a pick for them to get super pumped about.
So. Boy, I like his fit too. He looks.
Yeah, he's looking fresh. He's looking pretty fresh.
Mm-hmm. Look, I'll tell you what though. Jordan Love is doing backflips right now.
Yeah, he absolutely is.
So strengths. Here are my strengths on him. Right, elite speed. He ran a 4.2. I said a 2.49. Jesus, he ran a 4.29. He ran Back to the Future. His route running and separation is bananas. Right. I mean, he has his routes. When you watch them, were like they were designed in a lab. That's how clean they are when you watch him play. He's versatile. He can line up anywhere. You put him anywhere, except maybe tight end. And his ball skills, his hand-eye coordination, his body control, I mean, just absolutely nuts. College statistics. Sorry, go ahead.
No, that's the crazy thing about guy. Like, he's not a big guy, but his contested catch like he's great at contested catches. Even
All right,
for not being a big guy, that's one of the things I really liked about him.
Yeah, my player comp for him is Stephon Diggs.
Good comp. I like it.
To jump in here, you guys totally right. I did have a little bit of an issue with, I don't want to say issue. It seemed like he's so fast, but the separation was a little inconsistent at times. That being said, what Keith said about contested catches, one of the reasons why he had so many contested catches, I'm not trying to sit here and dog a player and talk crap. I hope Quinn Ewers plays fantastic in the NFL. But Quinn Ewers gave him a lot of horrible looks.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
He had to come back.
He's going to a very good quarterback. So,
yeah.
Like
he
Quinn
had to
Ewers,
come back for so many catches.
There's a reason why Quinn Ewers is like he might not even be drafted.
No,
He'll be drafted, but
I don't think he will be.
I
think he'll be a decent undrafted free agent practice squad player for a couple of years before he gets any kind of juice in the real leagues.
I think Quinn Ewers has talent, but like you're right about what you said, Taylor. Like he did not put Matthew Golden in the best position to succeed, and the fact that Matthew Golden is a first-round pick, in spite of the fact that Quinn Ewers was his quarterback, is a testament to how good Matthew Golden was in college.
And to talk up a little bit, because I don't like to sit here and go like, "Oh yeah, Quinn Ewers is crap." I'm trying to sense my words unlike Josh here.
No, I said that.
Sorry, he's crap. Hey, really quick, Vikings pick is in. This got to be Will Johnson, right?
Corner or safety?
Malachi Starks, Will Johnson. There's only so far you can let Will Johnson fall before you have to pull the trigger on him, right? And also, please,
we've seen crazier things,
please, somebody take him before the Bills draft. Please, I'm begging somebody to take him before the Bills draft.
I don't know, man, because
I'd be devastated.
I have cornerback, interior offensive lines in order of need. Cornerback, interior offensive line, safety, D line, and running back.
So I think the pick is Emin-Wari here. I'm going to say Emin-Wari.
Yeah, dude, I love that comp, or not comp, but that.
Well, my comp for him is Harrison Smith. Harrison Smith, finally decided to come back for one more season. But this is probably it for Harrison Smith.
Well, and don't forget, Vikings, they only have 4 picks in this draft. So
seriously?
They have pick 24, 97, 139, and 187. That's it.
They better make it count.
Yeah, but the Vikings roster is pretty stacked. Whenever we're doing our mock drafts, whenever we get to the Vikings, I think at different points we all were like, yeah, this roster is great, though. This is kind of a luxury pick. This is something best player that you have on your board, and it just so happens the Vikings got lucky and best players on the board are people that might be able to actually contribute day one.
Yeah,
because of need.
Mac McFarland says Ewers is a UFL guy.
Oh,
agreed.
Yeah, very much so. Could not
absolutely agreed.
Perfect. Yep.
I'm late coming and saying hi. Frozen Phins fan, great to see you, man. Looking forward to doing the show with you next week.
Hell yeah! Yep. Can't wait, man.
But wanted to say I absolutely love our 13th.
Yes.
Yeah. I think Josh and Taylor like it a lot more than I do, but I'm okay with it. I'm not ready to throw myself off of my balcony like I was when the Dolphins drafted Chop Robinson last year. So I'll say that.
That's great. And Dirk, if you pay attention to the ticker at the bottom, this is how you know we liked it, because his name is the only one that's in all caps, baby.
All right, Vikings pick is in.
And Dirk, if you're still watching, by the way, I'll reach out to you. I'll shoot you a text here in a couple of days, and we'll make sure everything's set up for you so you can join the show.
Ooh,
who'd they take?
Donovan Jackson.
All right.
I love the player. What a reach. He's a great player. He's angry, right?
Yeah.
But wow.
Didn't see that. Didn't see it coming. We have a trade alert. Oh my gosh.
Please tell me it's the Dolphins coming up.
Nope, it's the Giants coming up.
I bet you they're taking a quarterback.
Yep, this is Shador.
I think it's Jackson Dart.
You think it's Jackson Dart?
Yeah.
Brian Daboll's, I think I'm going to regret this. They're going to take Shador. But I think Brian Daboll really likes those arm talent kind of quarterbacks.
Okay.
Shador is great when it comes to accuracy, throwing the ball on time, that West Coast Shanahan, Brock Purdy, Tua kind of thing. Arm talent's not horrible, but it's not really what I think Daboll's looking for. Dart's got it. He's got a rocket.
He does. So
Does somebody want to look up what that trade was? Because I heard there's also a 3rd-round pick next year that they're sending. So can somebody take a look?
So they haven't shown what the specifications are just yet. What the specifics of the trade.
So while y'all do that real quick, just to talk about Donovan Jackson, I love this player. I'm not sure about the fit for Minnesota here. I'm not really sure where their offensive line really is, if they needed that depth, or this was more of a luxury in case somebody gets hurt kind of thing, where you're good kind of scenario. But what he did last season for Ohio State is nothing short of sensational. Him being a guard, playing left tackle instead because Josh Simmons got hurt. One of the few players who I think kept Abdul Carter in check. I say in air quotes because there's no really keeping
Jackson
him
Dart.
in check. Was that Josh?
No. Sorry, I thought I was on mute. I was talking they were showing Jackson Dart on screen.
Okay. And he relatively kept Abdul Carter in check, one of the few players to do that. And taking those strengths that he has, he's such a fundamental player to me.
Yeah.
And he has great hand placement. I think he has great strengths. The speed is a little bit of an issue, but man, what a great player. And I just have a lot of respect for him for what he did last season at Ohio State. Ohio State does not win national title if he doesn't step in the way he did.
Well, and to your point there, Taylor, like, that's why I don't think he was a reach here, because I think this guy is just a tenacious dude, and he's going to do whatever the coaching staff asks of him. And like you said, Josh, he's angry.
Yeah.
He's an angry man.
I have my player comp for him as Roger Saffold.
Nice.
Right?
I like it. And he's not the most nimble of guys, but you know what? When you play as nasty as he does, like, my player comp for him is Richie Incognito. Like, this guy is just.
Yeah, I love that. I love that comp.
Like, he's just a nasty dude. I was hoping he was. I mean, in vain apparently, but hoping in vain he was going to be there at 48 for the Dolphins, because I would have done backflips if the Dolphins would have drafted a guy like him.
You realize that in this year's draft, so we're on pick what? 25. So in 25 picks, there have been 5 offensive guards.
Yep.
If you count Will Campbell as a guard.
Yeah, and I don't know what the Patriots are, but
No, they should be. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
So, all right, Giants are in. Do you think it's Dart or do you think it's Shador?
I think it's Shador.
I think it's Dart.
And they traded up for Jahad Campbell. No, I'm kidding. Does anyone know what the trade was? I can't find it anywhere.
They haven't shown. They haven't
I'll
shown
take a look real quick.
yet.
Oh, here it is. I got it. Giants acquired number 25 from Texans for picks number 34, 99, and a 3rd-round pick next year. Well, that not a lot to trade up.
Yeah, Giants actually got a deal for that. Like, that's not bad for the Giants.
I wonder.
It is early in the second, to be fair.
I mean, it's
pretty value.
Was it 4, 8? All right, so it's like, was it 8?
Trading back 9 spots.
14 picks ahead of ours.
Yeah.
Right. So, but I mean, like, if we get to the end of the 1st round, hypothetically, stick with me with this.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Let me see. Washington, Kansas City, Philly, one of those teams. And we offer something like that to come back up. Would you? So get rid of a pick next year, whether it's a 3 or whatever, a 2, something like that. To move back in the 1st to say get either Will Johnson or one of the 2 safeties. Would you do it? Or would you just stick and pick knowing that there's insane depth at everywhere except for cornerback in this draft, or everywhere except for safety in this draft?
I'd stick. I'd stick. Again, I just think the Dolphins, there's too many holes on the Dolphins roster to go around trading away picks to move up in the first round. It's just how I feel about it.
Man, I would be. I will laugh myself to sleep if Shador falls out of the first round.
I know I will too.
Jackson Dart is nodding with a smile. Everyone is looking happy.
We'll see. We'll see how this goes. I don't know, man.
I'm going to laugh when they take the quarterback out of Harvard or whatever. What's his name?
Ryan Fitzpatrick Jr.
This feels like a perfect time to bring up that the Giants also picked up Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston in free agency.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe they're not taking a quarterback.
Here we go.
I'm going to laugh when it's like Jahad Campbell, and I was joking when I said it. Who is it?
Jackson Dart.
Jackson
Taylor's
Dart?
right. Taylor's right.
Oh, whoa. I was right, too.
You were right too? Okay. I said Shador.
But I was
was
right
wrong
first.
You were right first. Whatever. Shush your mouth. I actually really, really like this for them.
Yeah, I do too. Because of what Taylor just said about them bringing in Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston. You don't need this guy to play at all next season. He's just going to learn behind Russell Wilson and avoid Jameis Winston as much as possible. But learn from Russell Wilson. Learn from Brian Dable. Play next year, the year after.
There we go. Sorry, I had to update. I forgot. They traded up and I didn't update it.
LOL, Shador is going second round.
Yep.
Maybe
third.
It's starting to look. Oh, the Falcons are back in the first round.
Wait.
Oh,
They traded.
Yeah, Falcons just traded up, and their
Who do you
pick is
think
in.
it's for? Who do you think it's for? Nick
Shador.
Manwari?
Potentially Will Campbell,
No, it's
maybe.
not.
I mean, Will Johnson.
Could be.
They
Could very well be.
They need defense. They need help on defense as much as possible.
What was the trade? Did they say anything about it?
No, they just flashed it. Just flashed up here that the Falcons traded back up into the first round, and their pick is in.
All right. So do we want to go over Jackson Dart super high level?
Sure.
All right. Passing yards in for his college career, 11,970. 81 passing touchdowns, 27 interceptions, 1,541 rushing yards with 14 rushing touchdowns. In 2024, he threw for 4,279 yards with 29 touchdowns with only 6 interceptions, earning first-team All-SEC honors and the Carnley Trophy. I have his strengths. I have 3 of them: arm talent, athleticism, and leadership. I think his weaknesses are areas of improvement, whatever the hell you want to call them. Decision-making and consistency.
Okay.
As a player comp, I have prime Derek Carr.
Prime Derek Carr. Okay. Do you draft
I
the guy
saw
in
him
the
pretty
first round?
similar.
Do you draft the guy in the first round for him to be Derek Carr, though? Like, aren't you hoping for a little bit more?
I mean, if you have the players you have at quarterback, I'll take Derek Carr. I'll take a young Derek Carr.
Fair enough.
I will say,
I think
to
Derek
add
Carr
on
is better
to
than he.
what Josh said, look, there's a lot of strengths, a lot of weaknesses too with his game. It's not like he's a perfect prospect. There's a lot to love, especially the arm talent, the way he plays with toughness. It's what people love about Baker Mayfield. I think he's more like Sam Howell to me.
Yeah.
But the thing that's got me more concerned than anything is that scheme he plays in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I remember a few years ago that Kenny Pickett draft. You're sitting there with Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis, Matt Corral, and I get that class was absurdly bad.
Yeah.
And this class is
Well,
better.
They just said on ESPN that Dayball has said that he sees Josh Allen in him from a mobility and an arm strength talent level.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. I
And
mean,
Dayball was the one that drafted, or was part of the team that drafted
yeah.
the guy who shall not be named that pwns us every year.
So, I mean, look,
Twice
Taylor,
every year.
you said, yeah, twice every year. But Taylor, like you said, if you're going to make a pick, put your chest into it,
Yep.
and
Giants did.
that's
Respect
what
it.
they did. Yeah, exactly. So
You know what
whether
this
you
one?
like,
I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go
no,
ahead.
so whether you like Jackson Dart or not, like if Brian Dable is saying I see Josh Allen and Jackson Dart, all right, man, then Mazel tov.
Put your
Go
money
for
where
it.
your mouth is. You know what this pick reminds me of? I feel about this pick like I did about Bo Nix last year. I was like, oh, you know what? Okay. And then he goes out and you're like, oh, okay. All right, here's the pick.
Keith
Atlanta.
Hold on.
James Pierce.
Yep.
Wow,
doubled
James
up.
Pierce Jr. No kidding.
Yeah. Yeah.
James Pierce and Jalen Walker on the same team. I like that.
That is.
It's not bad. So, this was a guy that, all the physical traits. I didn't know if he was going to fall out of the first round or not, but like this is a solid pick by the Falcons. I like it.
I mean, one hell of a defensive line.
Oh,
Holy crap.
Wait, the Falcons gave up their first round pick next year to trade up in the first round this year.
Wait, what?
They gave up their first round pick to the Rams next year.
That's it?
Yeah, so 2026 first round pick.
And a third.
Flash on the screen.
Oh, here it is.
Wow.
Oh, wait, but that first round pick was LA's original pick.
Yes, it
They
was.
just gave it back to him.
Yeah. Wow.
Well,
okay.
The Falcons do have to do some wacky, at the draft.
I mean, it is the Falcons, right?
True.
Mr. Home Depot himself. Look at him hugging people at 87 years old.
But yeah, just the last thing, and we can close the book on the Jackson Dart conversation. Keith, you're 100% right. You're going to make a move like that, say it with your chest, go out there, make the play. And if it was Shedeur Sanders, if it was Jalen Milroe, I'd be saying the same thing. Like, hey, if you're going to make a pick, go get a quarterback. Go get your quarterback. Same thing for any of these other teams who possibly want to trade up. So, and James Pierce, man, what a wild 1-2 punch they just got.
Yeah, I mean, career production, right? 71 total tackles, 30 total tackles for loss, 19 and a half sacks, 1 interception return for a touchdown, right? He led all edge rushers with 21.9% pass pressure rate in 2024, making the second consecutive season he's surpassed 20% threshold. That's big. Explosive athleticism, pass rushing prowess, and scheme versatility I have as my strengths. Run defense, functional strength, which is different from being strong, and consistency is what I have as areas for improvement. And then as my player comp, I have Brian Burns, like a Dollar Tree version of Brian Burns.
I think my comp for him, oh dang, just knocked my glasses off the table almost. I think my comp for him was Liatu Latu.
Yeah, that's a good comp too. That's a really good comp too.
A lot of the strengths he mentioned, man, he's so explosive. I think I had in my write-up, he's arguably the most explosive player in this draft.
Mm-hmm.
He has this uncanny knack, this extraordinary ability to time the snap. It's wild to see. I highly recommend anybody listening go check it out.
Yeah, because his film is fun to watch, man. It really is
so fun. And granted, I highly doubt he's going to be able to do that at the NFL, at least to the extent he did in college. But man, he's still so explosive, regardless of that. And he wins with that pure finesse. He just shoots out of a cannon.
Mm-hmm.
But the problem was with strength for me. The problem was that consistency, and that's why I had him more as a second round grade.
Same.
And there was more actual character concerns as well that weren't like necessarily horrendously bad, but they were enough to be like, okay, so I don't feel horrible about this lower grade. You know,
Yeah, I mean, I have him just below, so same, same range, but I have Donovan Izaraku right above him.
yeah, Izaraku has insane production.
I know, it's insane. I cannot believe. I don't want to jinx it, man, but holy crap, the players that are still available.
Yeah. Izaraku in 2024 had 80 total tackles, 16 and a half sacks, and 3 forced fumbles.
Yeah. At Boston College, which it always has a really good defense.
Just to repeat here, 80 total tackles.
Yeah. Yep.
As an edge rusher.
Do you think Emanwari, Starks, and Will Johnson make it out of the first round?
It's starting to look like it. It really is. Now, the Ravens are on the clock, and I feel like one of those three are about to go.
I think Emanwari's off. I think that's who they pick.
Especially considering Donovan Jackson and Tyler Booker are both off the board right now.
Mm-hmm.
Those are two guys that I think you look at and they're like, he's a future Raven. So considering both of them off the board, yeah, I think one of them has got to go here.
Who do you think they're going to pick? And the pick is in, so they're definitely picking. They're not trading.
Selfishly, I hope it's Emanwari. In terms of football, like what I would want to see on the field as the best football, Malachi Starks plus Kyle Hamilton, yes, please.
Yeah, that's terrifying, dude.
Yeah.
Although I will say Nick Emanwari and Kyle Hamilton together is terrifying.
That's also terrifying. It's bad no matter way you look at it.
Yeah.
But
unless do you think there's any chance that they go Will Campbell?
Will Johnson?
Or yeah, sorry. Or no, Jahad Campbell, linebacker.
Ooh.
Do you think there's any chance that they go Jahad? Right? I can't.
That is interesting.
Jahad Campbell and the Ravens, I don't know. That could be a fun, splashy pick, you know? Keith, where do you think they go?
I like Jahad Campbell here. That's actually pretty.
I personally think it's going to be Emanwari, but Jahad Campbell will be fun. Not fun to play against, but fun.
What's their wide receiver core looking like these days? And I say that because Lamar Jackson really struggled early in his career. I know they've had a few first-round picks, big players come in, but could it be a wide receiver? Higgins?
Wide receiver. Let's see.
One pick's about to come in.
I know. I'm trying.
Malachi Starks.
That's a good
damn man. I love that. I hate it at the same time.
Yeah.
I'm feeling feelings about this pick.
Fuck, that's a good pick, dude.
That is a good pick. That's
a bummer. Sorry. But
it's a Ravens pick, man.
I'm really excited to see that defense, though, with Starks and Hamilton.
Yeah, do you think
Dolphins play the Ravens this year? Please tell me no.
They do. They do.
Do you think that Malachi Starks is like jumping backflips right now?
Yeah.
Everybody in that organization should be doing backflips.
He's going to a team with Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson.
Yep.
A very good offensive line. So he knows his offense is going to be, solid. And he's going to a defense to play alongside Kyle Hamilton with the linebackers that they have in Patrick. They still have Patrick Queen, right?
They do.
Yeah. No, Patrick Queen is on the Steelers.
Oh,
they got Roquan Smith.
That's right, he is.
Oh, Roquan Smith. I'm sorry.
Who is a top 3 linebacker in the league. That's why the Jahad Campbell thing made a lot of sense. Like, pair him up with oh man, they were sitting pretty at this pick.
And they were laughing. Dude, they were laughing.
There was no wrong answers for them, honestly. Malachi Starks, Nick Emanwari, Jahad Campbell. It's all gravy for the Ravens. But when you have a roster as complete as the Ravens, That helps.
It's just fun. It's just fun now, right?
Yeah.
I mean, do we really need to talk about Malachi Starks, Joe? I mean, we talked about him so much for the Dolphins.
Yeah. I mean, he's a perfect center fielder. He's a perfect perfect complement to Kyle Hamilton, like you said, Taylor. Great pick for them, man.
He's the true center fielder. I mean, he really is.
Yeah.
He's the best center fielder in this draft.
Death taxes and the Ravens draft somebody who
is a Pro Bowler in the rookie
Yeah.
season. Yeah, it's
Right.
disgusting.
In terms of player to team, it kind of sounds like all three of us are on the same page here. Is this on paper the best pick in the draft for a team?
No,
I mean, you know,
no. I think tight end to Indy is probably my favorite. My favorite.
Tyler
place.
Warren to Indy.
Ashton Genty to the Raiders.
That's a good
I
one,
love.
too.
You know, I love Marion Hampton to the Chargers. You know, there's actually been a lot of really good picks in the first round.
Yeah, I don't like that there hasn't been a lot of. You know, I think Ted McMillan going as early as he did, I think, is probably the most shocking pick so far.
That was a bit of a reach. You know, with Atlanta trading back into the first round to draft James Pierce.
I love that. Dude, I actually really like that for them, given who they drafted. I mean, they drafted Jalen Walker, and then they came back up and got Pierce Jr.
I just don't love what they gave up for it. Like, they gave up next year's first to do that.
Well, maybe they think Penix is going to lead them to the promised land.
I don't disagree. I like Michael Penix a lot.
I have him on my dynasty league. Yes, I do too. Not that that's an indication that I know anything about what I'm talking about. But.
Lions on the clock right now, and I think they're also sitting pretty. They got Will Johnson and Mawari both sitting there.
Bro, they're taking Jahad Campbell.
Yeah. Jahad Campbell on his defense.
Pair him with Jack
Campbell.
Campbell. Yeah, I like Izaraku here for the Lions.
I love Izaraku. Yep.
But yesterday, when I was talking about Emmett and Worry with you guys and how much you guys liked him, and my thing was there's flashes of him being that dog. Going in, making that play.
There's also flashes
any
of
coach
him
in this league.
There's also flashes of him being the anti-dog, though.
Yeah, but there's any coach in this league that's going to, hey, we're going to make sure that you make the most out of every play you're in. Dan Campbell's that guy.
Very good point, Taylor. Very good point. Why is my camera blurry all of a sudden? Why are you blurry?
There's too much awesomeness going on. Can't handle the truth.
Clearly. I'm buzzing.
I don't know. I just feel like Jahad Campbell or Nikim and Wari for the Lions they're just lion fits. You know what I mean? They're just man Campbell. We're gonna run Oklahoma drills kind of players, you know.
Izaraku, I think, fits in there as well.
Yep.
And that's just on the defensive side.
Mike Green,
look
too,
at
man.
Still there.
Hey, don't forget Mike Green. Mike Green, did you watch him in was it Senior Bowl?
Yeah.
When he blew by the offensive lineman from
Bullied.
Who the hell was it? He was from Oregon.
Look, I'm a big fan of Josh Connerly Jr.
Yeah.
That was the worst rep he's had in this entire process.
Yeah. I mean, that was embarrassing.
Mike Green is the biggest boomer bust prospect in this draft, though, in my opinion.
Yeah, for sure. I'm with you 1,000%.
Over Shamar Stewart. It's tough because Shamar Turner is on that D line too. He's also in this draft at D tackle. So you get those names confused.
Ooh. Tyleik Williams, guys.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
I want to be disappointed. The track record tells me that I'm completely wrong in my evaluation of Tyleik Williams because the Lions have such a good track record.
Yeah, I feel like I did something wrong.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I liked Tyreek Williams. I think Tyreek Williams is a really good prospect. I want to see where I have him though. Defensive tackle. Oh, dude, I have him as my 83 out of 100.
So, what are his weaknesses? Why is he rated so low, and why do the Lions take him so high?
Let me look and tell you.
I have him as my number 11 interior defensive lineman.
It's
Or the third
Tyreek.
round.
It's Tyreek Williams, right, guys?
Yeah.
Hold on, I gotta get my board filtered here real quick. Hang tight.
So
So,
for the
strengths-
Commanders, go ahead.
So strengths for Tyreek Williams, I have exceptional run defender, and he can reset the line of scrimmage. Powerful bull rush, and he's relentless. I mean, he's one of those guys that just is never, ever, ever, ever going to stop going at 100%. And he's versatile, so he can play the 1 tech, the 5 tech, the 3 tech, the nose tackle, whatever. I think he needs to develop more from a hand technique standpoint. I think he struggles disengaging from blockers, and it's noticeable. So I think that means there's a problem. And I know it's been a kind of point of contention with some of these players, but I think his arm length is a problem, which
Not great.
leads right into him not being able to disengage from blockers when he's and in the NFL you're going against tacticians, right?
Yeah.
I don't know. I like the player. I just don't like it in the first round. But Detroit, if they took him in the first round, I must be very wrong on him.
Yeah, especially with other options available to him. Go ahead, Taylor.
I completely agree. No, I think you're right, Keith. It's baffling because it's a player that I'm like, man, I don't know about it. But the Lions have made a living off of taking players that, this third round grade, and then we look silly a year from now. So we'll see how this ends up.
Who's your comp for him?
Aleem McNeil.
I have DJ Reader.
Okay.
So Williams, massive frame, explosive bull rush, making him an immediate threat in the pass game if it's one-on-one. He could weather through double teams to make a stop in the run game. Good speed for his size. Seems to not have much finesse. I think that was one of my big issues. It's pretty much that bull rush or nothing with Tyreek Williams. And like you said, Josh, the wingspan, the arm length is just not there. And I think what he does so well, and what I liked about him, why I had the third round grade, he's a great support player on a D line. He's going to eat up space for somebody else to come in, clean up, make the play. It's not something that people who look at the box scores are going to be like, oh man, Tyreek Williams had a great game. But when you look at the film of it, you're going to go, yeah, he's the one who made that work, that entire game.
You know who he reminds me of a little bit is if you watched any of the Rams games last year, Brandon Fisk, right? Okay. He's the guy that he's 6'3", 335 or something like that. And he's the guy that he does, to Taylor's point, he does everything that you don't see on the stat sheet so that the other players are on the stat sheet. That makes sense.
But the thing is that when I watched Rams games last year, I noticed Braden Fisk out there. Whereas Tyreek Williams isn't the guy that I necessarily notice on a lot of plays. Whereas Braden Fisk, okay, fine, maybe he's laying it out for the other guys to play it out, but he was also very disruptive. Not as disruptive as Jared Verse, but still a very disruptive player.
By the way, both of those players are who I wanted Miami to take in the first and second round.
Yeah, I wouldn't have argued with that.
As a Florida State guy, I was banging the table for Braden Fisk in the second round.
Was I?
I wasn't a big fan of Fisk. I look like a fool right now because he looks great, but
Braden Fisk is one of those. He was one of those lunch pail kind of guys, just working. He's a Zach Sealer. He's just yeah.
All right.
Well, for Fisk, it was can he not only fit into multiple schemes because he was in a 4-3 in Florida State.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So could he be a DN in the 3-4, and also can he actually get it done without being the support player? Because he was not seen as kind of like what we're talking about Tyreek Williams. he'll see as, he's going to be a premier pick. I guess Tyler Williams is also that now, but he's going to have to do more than just be support. And that was where I had some issues.
They just pulled up all of the moves that Washington made in the offseason. Holy crap.
It's a lot. It really is a lot.
They got Tunsil. They got Debo, who I know is a shell of himself. That's fine. They got Kinlaw. They got somebody else. That's crazy. I think this is
Josh Connerly to the Commanders.
Connerly? Damn, that's a good pick for them.
And that's after bringing in. That's after bringing in Laremy Tunsil. Like they're building something in Washington.
Connerly's the right tackle.
Yeah,
right? He's DJ.
Totally.
He's the DJ Humphreys, but of right tackle.
Yes. This is actually. I thought they were going to go defense.
Washington's got one hell. I thought they were going Mike Green. Washington's got one hell of a team.
I was going to say Donovan Izaraku for them. I thought that he was the perfect fit for them.
Yeah,
but
even better.
But I don't hate the pick for Josh Connerly. Like I actually like Josh Connerly a lot. Line him up opposite Laremy Tunsil. That's you're cooking with gas there a little bit.
And then when Tunsil retires, push him over. You know?
Also, I don't really know what Washington's interior is looking like. I think he can also move him inside. He's got the ability to do it.
Do you think Josh Connerly? Do you see him as a guard in the NFL? Because I always saw him as a tackle.
I see him as a tackle, but I'm just saying if you were going, hey, I want to put him at guard, I feel comfortable with the tackles, I'd understand.
All right, so here's their projected starting offensive line in 2025 before this pick. Laremy Tunsil at left tackle, Nick Algretti at left guard, seasoned lineman from the Chiefs, Tyler Bidays
from the Cowboys.
Yep, is their center.
Yeah.
Sam Cosmi is their right guard, and Andrew Wiley is their right tackle. I mean,
so Wiley.
Yeah, you can push Wiley out of the starting lineup there. Definitely.
I don't know.
Cosmi, I think, is their starter at right guard.
Definitely.
Didn't he just get a deal as well? Yeah, he's a good player.
Cosmi's a good player. Biadash is
and also they also have Michael Dieter, just in case everyone's wondering.
Yeah, I was wondering where he ended up. I thought maybe the UFL, but I guess he's still in the NFL collecting a paycheck.
Dude, Connolly Jr. looks mean as hell, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So we're sitting at 30.
Well,
There's
Bills.
a few players who have fallen.
Here
Will Johnson.
Yep. My heart's about to get broken.
Now, we kind of know why Will Johnson's falling.
Yeah.
The medicals, the people are talking about, like, in the long term, is he going to be able to sustain it? And what is it, a knee injury? I'm pretty sure.
It's like a bunch of shit. Yeah, hold on, let me look.
He has multiple injuries over the course of this draft process, including the end of last season. I think he had a turf toe. So I understand that. Mike Green's another interesting one. I don't want to get into the character concern stuff. Anybody listening, you could research that yourself. But I'm wondering if that is something that teams are looking at, if it's something about where he played at Marshall and having that year of production and teams not buying into it as much despite the great draft process. But it is interesting that Mike Green is still on the board as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm so afraid that Jahad Campbell's going to Buffalo right now.
Oh, no.
Same.
Yeah. And by the way, Will Johnson, turf toe in October 2024, hamstring strains times 4. He had 4 hamstring strains between 2024 and 2025. And there are significant knee concerns which surfaced during the medical evaluations at the combine.
Keith, are you good, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay.
Keith's having an aneurysm because he knows we're about to have to face either Will Johnson or Jahad Campbell 2 times a year.
This got to be one of those two. I hope it's Will Campbell or Will Johnson.
I hate the Bills probably more than anybody else alive. Maybe.
Challenge accepted, buddy. Watch it be like
Yeah.
Omari or Jaden Higgins or Omari in Hampton.
Yeah.
There are no good options. I'm looking at the list. So here's who's available: Will Johnson, and I'm reading down my top 100: Will Johnson, Shador Sanders, Nick Emenwari, John Campbell, Mike Green, Trayvon Henderson, Maxwell Harrison.
Josh, let me stop you right there. A place kicker has not been drafted yet.
True.
That's true.
Yeah, and a long snapper. They need a long snapper.
They do need a long snapper. Yeah.
Her backup quarterback's in need too.
Yeah. Maybe they should draft Shador.
Tyler Shook, Louisville. Okay.
There you go.
Elijah Arroyo. Oh, actually, I would hate that.
Oof.
All right, pick his end. Here it comes.
At 30, you'd hate that?
What?
Arroyo?
No.
With Kincaid's in there?
I'm kidding.
Just saying?
All right, call your shots. I'm going to say Jahad Campbell.
I'm going to say Will Johnson.
Oh, God.
I know.
Hold on. Who do you got?
It's got to be one of those two.
No, it doesn't.
Will Johnson.
Who do you think it's going to be?
I think it's got to be one of those two.
Okay.
Because I can't imagine they pick anybody else.
I mean, I could see a maybe, right? Because don't they have needed safety?
Yeah.
No, they did get DeMar Hamlin back as well.
Okay, I would take Nick Emenwari over DeMar Hamlin 7 days out of 7.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, absolutely.
Look, I thought Hamlin played all right last season.
Yeah, but shouldn't prevent you from drafting great. And
Hamlin's a number 3 safety on a
every
good
team.
NFL roster. Yeah.
I feel really comfortable if Hamlin was a number 3 and you go get Emenwari.
Yeah. I mean, you don't let good and a really awesome story prevent you from drafting great, right? And I think Nick Emenwari, I know you guys aren't as high on him as I am, but I think he's going to be a great player. All right, come on, buddy.
Maxwell Harrison, guys.
Is that who it is?
Ooh.
Yeah, Maxwell Harrison.
That doesn't make me feel any better because
No.
Marcus Peters.
Feel very happy about this.
I mean, I would have rather them taken Will Johnson, if I'm being honest. Maxwell Harrison, I'm very high on. I know I'm higher on him more than most.
Well, I love his physical traits. And you're not going to ask him to play the run very often. He's not a very good tackler. He's not a very big guy, but I see what you're saying, Josh. Like in coverage, this guy is a playmaker.
I mean, Marcus Peters is my comp.
Yeah. Speed demon. Absolute speed demon. He loves to jump routes. That's what is going to scare me. Because he can definitely get in there. And Tua, there's a thing about he has arm strength. I think people confuse arm strength with velocity a lot. The problem with Tua is velocity at getting there.
Kansas City trades. They got back-to-back picks.
No, Philadelphia is on the clock now.
Oh,
Yeah.
Sorry. Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No,
So
you're
they
good.
just swapped.
Yeah, they just swap picks.
Do you
Philly
know who they're going to take?
They're going to take Jahad Campbell.
Yeah,
As
they're about
they
to take
should.
Jahad Campbell. Yeah.
I'm thinking Ezeraku here.
I say Jahad Campbell all day.
I don't see Jahad Campbell because they have Nakobe Dean coming back from injury. They just signed Zach Bond to a big deal.
Yeah.
I think this is an edge rusher. I really do. I think this is Donovan Ezeraku.
That would be great too.
Yeah, I mean that doesn't make me feel any better.
No.
So the reason I was saying Harrison, like I'm happier about that than Jahad Campbell, is because what you're talking about the run defense and all that. If you can get to the outside and get towards his way,
Oh yeah.
I'm not confident in his ability to make that tackle. And as a Dolphins fan, pretty thrilled about that. And again, when it comes to Harrison's strengths, I am pretty damn scared about what he could do as a playmaker. So that is really bad.
Yeah. Here are my strengths for Harrison. Sorry, go ahead, Keith.
No, he's a drive wrecker. He's his strengths or his go ahead. You're going to talk about his strengths. Go ahead and do.
So I have elite 4.28 elite type speed and athleticism.
Yeah.
He's a ball hawker, right? He's a ball hawk. That's the best way to describe him. scheme versatility. He can play in anything. He's comfortable. He seems comfortable based on the film in run heavy schemes. He's playing off man in cover 3 in zone. He's got his football IQ is insanely high, and he's an aggressive finisher. Right? He initiates contact, which I love in a football player. Right? He also, based on, and I looked this up, he forced 4 fumbles from punching the ball out. So from tracking behind a player, from recovering from a blown coverage from another man on the defense, tracked back, punched the ball out, got the fumble, and either returned it a little bit or just fell on top of it. And he also offers return value, right?
Yeah. Just to add on a little bit of notes here, he missed a good chunk of the 2024 season due to a shoulder injury, but he did finish the season strong. He is the cousin of former NFL linebacker Tywan Jones and is part of an athletic family, so he has that background. Good wingspan to make up for his smaller frame. Possesses elite speed, like Josh said. Is a playmaker in every facet of the game. Well, except for the run defense, like I was saying. Expertly baits throws, and the rest we kind of already talked about here, especially as a return threat.
But again, with a guy with his aggression, you can use that to your advantage. Like if you're Tua, you can use a guy with that kind of aggression to, you can look him off. You can make him jump a route that he shouldn't be jumping, double moves with a guy like, Tyreek Hill is still on the Miami Dolphins. Double move with Tyreek Hill. Maxwell Harrison, even his 4.28 speed isn't going to be enough to recover. So, it's a solid pick by the Bills. It's an annoying pick by the Bills.
This is a Bills pick.
Yeah.
Right? This is going to be a player that you're not going to really hear a lot about until the end of the season. You're going to be like, wow, he's got 8 interceptions on the year. Holy crap.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. But it's also worth noting the last time the Bills took a cornerback in the first round, it was Kyrie. So,
that's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair.
This is a Dolphins channel again, so trying to find some silver lining in a pick that I find to be annoying by the Bills.
Look, I will say this. One of my biggest concerns with him, because he's not a slot guy, he's an outside cornerback.
Yeah.
5'11", 183. You're going to get bodied a lot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, we don't have those big bodies yet unless we draft one. But in most cases, maybe not against the Dolphins per se, but, that is on the shorter side from an outside cornerback perspective.
Yeah.
So it will be interesting. I also have tackling consistency as one of his weaknesses. Tends to miss some tackles. And he's raw in man-to-man coverage, which,
Well, he's going to be. He'll play more man in the NFL, and he'll get better at it. He has all the athleticism in the world to grow into the number 1 cornerback role the Bills want him to be. Rasul Douglas is on the back 9, probably on the 18th hole, honestly.
I think he's in the clubhouse.
Yeah. They needed cornerback help. I thought, the fact that Will Johnson fell past the Bills here, his medicals must be.
Well, this is that weird kind of thing where like teams freak out, right? And if teams see a team with a quarterback need pass on a player like Will Johnson, they're like, oh, holy crap. Okay, you know what? I'm off too. At least that's what it seems like. I'm not in any of these rooms, but that's what it seems like,
We got 2 picks left.
Yeah.
And quite a few players who, personally, I have very high on my board. From Josh Simmons to Jahad Campbell, Will Johnson as well. I understand the medical issues, but I believe I had him as like my 20th overall. And then you got the Nick Emmanwori, you got Davin Ezeraku. Quite a few players. Shador Sanders still sitting there as well. So a few players that are in my top 40 here personally. I don't know about you guys. I'm very surprised.
Yeah. I mean, here are some of the top players that I have left, right? And I think we should do this exercise once the draft is over. Talk about, our top players that we have left on the board. Will Johnson, Shador Sanders, Nick Minwari, Jahad Campbell, Mike Green, Travion Henderson, sorry. Donovan Izaraku still there. Azari Thomas, I know he's not a first-round cornerback, but he's still on the board. Josh Simmons is still there. Omarion Hampton is still there, right? Or
No, Omarion Hampton's gone.
I knew that. I was just testing you. Jaden Higgins, right?
All right, the Eagles pick is in.
Yep.
You know who I hope Miami gets their hands on in round 2 is Siobhan Revel if he's there.
Yep, I love it.
Oh,
Jahad Campbell.
Jahad Campbell.
I knew it.
Jahad Campbell.
I fucking knew it.
Wow. The Eagles.
Yeah, Josh.
Another solid pick, man.
I've been saying
Not
this
even mad at Death Bomb. That was worth it.
Huh?
Not even mad at Death Bomb he threw out there. It was worth it.
Because I don't
we
care
all
if you're mad
called
about it or not. I'm dropping them. This is
I'm not, because we all called it weeks ago when we were like, somehow the Eagles are going to end up with Jahad Campbell.
Yep.
And we were all upset. Like, oh, yeah, this is perfect for him. As soon as it came out about the medical stuff.
Jesus, this is. Look, guys, I know this is bad, but on a live show that we're on here for multiple hours, F-bombs are coming. I apologize.
Yeah.
I can only keep it closed for so long.
I was just making a joke out of it.
No, it's understandable, especially, and this is why, we look at the Ravens pick of Malachi Starks. We look at the Bills pick of Maxwell Harrison, the Eagles, Jahad Campbell. Like, this is why these teams continue to thrive. This is why these teams always draft at the bottom of the first round, because they get these solid picks, these really good picks, steals, if you will, at the end of the first round like this, and just continuously make their roster stronger, even though they're picking at the bottom of the first round. This is the guy. This is the guy I wouldn't have been upset. I wouldn't have been upset the Dolphins took him at 13.
No, of course not. And this is this kind of draft, man. This draft is deep.
Yeah.
Right. So I mean, the end of the second round, you're still going to possibly get starters, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, looking down the list: Alfred Collins, Jack Bech, Siobhan Revel, Jordan Birch, T.J. Sanders, Elijah Arroyo, Trey Amos, Jonah Sabanea, Luther Burden III, Omar Norman Lott. I mean, like, the list just keeps going on and on. Demetrius Knight at linebacker.
Carson Schwessinger.
Yeah, Darius Alexander. I mean, like, the list
Mason
just
Taylor.
Yeah. Nope. Nick Scorton, right?
This is a deep draft.
Yeah, I mean,
this is a deep draft, but like Jahad Campbell to me was the top 15 player in this draft, and the Eagles just got him at 31.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the Chiefs are about to take Will Johnson, top 10 player.
Yeah, they might. I wouldn't doubt that at all. I think they need a guard. Personally, they traded away Joe Thuney to the Chicago Bears this all season. I think they need some guard help, but like
Josh Simmons to them would be fire. Like, not as a Dolphins fan, but as an NFL fan.
Yeah.
Maybe they take Shador Sanders.
Could be. Who knows?
Yeah. And maybe he'll push Patrick Mahomes for playing time.
I mean, I think you bench Patrick Mahomes right immediately, right?
Yeah, I wouldn't. You got Shador Sanders in town. Just ask Dion who's your play. Dion, who should play, Shador Sanders or Patrick Mahomes?
Maybe they'll trade. Patrick Mahomes.
Going back to this Campbell pick one more time, as Jesse Pinkman once said, they can't keep getting away with this.
Yeah, and yet they do.
Yeah,
the Eagles, they stayed pat last year, and they got Quinyon Mitchell, the top cornerback in the draft, in the 20s, and then they stood pat last year and got Cooper DeJean, another guy who was a consensus first-round pick until an injury, and they stand pat here and get Jahad Campbell.
This is how the rich
they trade up one pick. Yeah, but they basically stayed.
They gave up a 5th-round pick to get Jahad Campbell. It's borderline ridiculous what the Eagles have been able to do in the draft the past couple of seasons.
I mean, dude, that's the football god smiling on you, man.
Yeah.
But this is why it's so important to draft well, which is why a lot of this fan base, including myself, has a problem with Chris Greer when it comes to drafting.
And it's fair.
This is why.
Yeah.
You have 3 first-round picks, and you strike out on your last pick in the first round with Noah Igbenogany. We have a very good right tackle now, finally, in Austin Jackson's, and you have a good quarterback in thank you. Jesus, it's late.
Yeah.
But second round picks, third round picks. Cam Smith is one, the linebacker that never plays.
Channing Tindall.
Yeah, I mean, it's shit like that. I'm sorry, it's late. Kids should be asleep anyway. So
yeah, we're going on 4 hours here. Let them fly.
It's stuff like that where it's like, okay, it's trading up for Liam Eichenberg. It's trading a third this year to trade up into the 4th round to get Jalen Wright, who I like. But why are you trading a 3rd round pick to move up to get a running back that's probably going to be there? Now, that is not a slight. I'm a big fan of Jalen Wright. I really genuinely am. But I don't know, man.
Chiefs pick is in.
It has to be Shedeur Sanders here, right?
Josh Simmons.
That's exactly who I thought it was.
Josh, why? Just why?
Sorry, man. Sorry, it made too much sense.
Why would you put that evil in the world,
dude? It made far too much sense, man.
Yeah.
Oh, look, Kansas City's are throwing thumbs down. Are you kidding?
Yes, solid pick by them. Damn.
And there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. The full ticker is updated.
Nice. All right, so we're going on 4 hours here. We've been at this all night. We're gonna be back tomorrow night with 2nd and 3rd rounds. So let's not
lollygag.
Yeah, let's not lollygag. Let's not prolong this any longer than we have to. What were your impressions of your final thoughts on the Dolphins' 1st round pick and your final thoughts on the 1st round in general? Go ahead, Josh.
Yeah, look, I'm in love with Miami's pick, right? It's not a sexy pick. It's not flashy. It's not a stat grabber, for lack of a better term. But Kenneth Grant is a monster. And he is going to be the kind of player that fans fall in love with because he does all the little things. He does the dirty work. He does all of the things that you want players to do. And I guarantee you he's going to play the game the right way. He's going to show up. He's going to put on his hard hat. He's going to grab his lunch pail. He's going to be a sponge. He's going to learn, and he's going to surprise you with how well he does every single game. And I think it's like Chop Robinson. I'm not saying they're parallel, but like Chop, how he got better and better and better and better. I think Kenneth Grant is going to start immediately, in my opinion. And he's just going to keep getting better. And you'll be like, how does this guy keep doing this? I'm telling you what, man. I mean, I really, really like this pick. I really do. From a 1st round standpoint, not a lot of surprises, I thought. Right? I mean, we've been doing mock drafts for months. I think the biggest surprise is Will Johnson still being available, right? Mm-hmm. I think that has to be the biggest surprise in my opinion. Nick Manwari still being available is a surprise for me, not probably for the two of you, as I know you guys aren't overly hyped on Nick Manwari. Yeah. But I think the fact that those 2 players are still available, and Mike Green, I thought Mike Green would go in the teens. But other than that, not a lot of shocks. With who was picked, and I thought it was a really good draft for most teams. I mean, genuinely, I don't think there's not a team here outside of the who took Tet? Carolina
took Tet.
Yeah. So outside of Carolina taking Tet, which okay, I can understand. Every other team, I was like, all right, I can see that. Okay, that makes sense. Hey, you know what? You didn't make it. You didn't make your normal boneheaded move. Cool. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Taylor, what are your thoughts on the Dolphins pick in the 1st round in general?
Dolphins pick a lot of what Josh just said. I am very excited for Kenneth Grant to be on his defensive line. It's a position of need. I think it was a premium player as well for the pick. It wasn't an egregious reach. Again, I had him as my number 13 overall player, so it worked out perfectly there.
Yeah.
In terms of the 1st round as a whole, there were a few surprises. For example, we're seeing Jacksonville's trade in the recap here over on ESPN, and that was something I did not expect. Trade up and get Travis Hunter. There were a few surprises in terms of, oh man, this player fell to this said team. For example, Malachi Starks to Baltimore, and James Pierce getting picked up by the Falcons as they trade back up. But overall, end of the night, there's a lot of players left on this board, guys. Really are. We do lose out on Josh Simmons and Jahad Campbell with the last 2 picks, which leaves me a bit bummed out. I'll say that at the end of the first round compared to where I was previously. But, man, you're sitting here with a lot of offensive line depth, I think, still on the board. A lot, I don't want to say corner necessarily, but Siobhan Rebel's still there, who I have a very high opinion of. And there's a lot of other players that I wouldn't say are necessarily positions of need, but are talented players who I think can contribute day one.
Yeah. You know, not as high on the Kenneth Grant pick as you guys, but I do understand it from a need standpoint, and I understand that he is a talented player. And look, you know, it's a solid pick by the Dolphins. I can't knock it. As far as the first round went, I was surprised by a few things, honestly. I was surprised by the trade that you mentioned, Taylor. I was surprised that Will Johnson fell out of the first round. I was surprised that Shedeur Sanders fell out of the first round. I really was. I know we did a mock early on in this draft process, and Shedeur Sanders, we had Shedeur Sanders falling out of the first round. And at the end of it, we kind of threw a disclaimer out there saying, well, that's not going to happen. Like, Shedeur Sanders isn't going to fall out of the first round. There's no universe where that happens. Well, it just happened. Shedeur Sanders fell out of the first round. It's going to be interesting to see where he goes tomorrow. It's going to be interesting to see where Will Johnson goes tomorrow. And as far as what the Dolphins look like moving forward here, you know, there is offensive line depth. There's a little bit of cornerback depth left. They have 2 picks on the books tomorrow. We'll see if they add more, but it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to mix it up again tomorrow with you guys, and I think we'll just leave it at that because we're pressing 4 hours here, and we're going to be back tomorrow night.
Yes, sir.
So, do you guys have any final thoughts?
No, just really excited for. I'm only going to probably be around for round 2 tomorrow night. There's some things that came up for the house that I need to help take care of, but I will stay as long as I can. But I'm very excited to jump back on with you fellas. It's 7:00 tomorrow for those that are watching, right?
Yes.
Not 8. So we will see you at 7.
Yes.
Yeah.
Taylor, any final thoughts?
Be sure to tune in tomorrow. Hear our thoughts, I guess, on rounds 2 and 3. Chat with us. Let us know in the comments what your favorite picks were from this round. Yeah. What you thought of the Dolphins pick at 13. Or if you're a fan of another team, what you thought your team did, how they did, I guess.
Yeah. So to Malik, Joe Dill, David Keenan, Mac McFarland, he commented a lot. Frozen Fin Fan, thank you guys for coming in, joining us in the live chat here. We really appreciate it. Again, if you like what you saw tonight, like, comment, and if you know any Bills fans, throw some shade at Maxwell Harrison. All right, guys, have a nice night, and we will see you tomorrow night at 7:00.